Nice stop at extra cover. Boucher wanted the single. Wyatt said no, and then on striker's end. Good call, I think, Wyatt, even though it was spilled at extra cover. I think one of them would have struggled, at least. Yeah. Nicely timed drive, though, from Boucher. Didn't bring any reward as Bryce bowls again. And Boucher pulls that away in the air. She's safe on the leg side, and she's almost split the field. But that is a great piece of fielding on that boundary. And that will be picked up and thrown back in, and Sophie Munro it was, throwing herself to her left on the west side of the ground to our right as we look, and that's kept it down to 3, so she saved 1 effectively, and the Vipers move on to 58 for 1. I'm just looking over that side as well. That's where the forecasted weather is coming from, towards the New Forest and the southwest, and that sort of blue cloud has been sort of hovering around that area, hasn't it, in the distance. I think it might be a fraction closer.
Yeah, I can't work out which way it's going. The clouds are almost still, moving very slowly.
They are, yeah, which is probably keeping it in the distance, really. I saw one forecast that suggested by about now we might be getting rain, but that's not going to happen, not yet. Anyway, nice cut shot from Wyatt, but it's gone too quickly to the fielder at backward point. They can't run that one, despite them running well.
I think you and I commentated last year, Kev, on both of these fixtures, home and away.
Yep.
And they were very different stories. Vipers very much in control down at Arundel.
Yep.
Had a very convincing 46-run lead, win, I believe.
That's a cut shot by Wyatt, and it's gone very quickly to the fielder, who can't pick it up cleanly this time, so they do come through for a single. 59 for 1.
I think Lightning's
46 runs, yeah.
Lightning's batting on that day looked very lacklustre, but when we had the return fixture, we went up to Derby for Lightning, who said haven't won a game in this competition. Took us to the wire, and Page hit a single off the last ball to win the game.
Boucher uses her feet and drives up to mid-off. They'll come through for another single as the throw's not coming in this time. You're right, yeah, last ball victory by 7 wickets in the end, which looked easy, but you're right, it could have gone either way. 7
wickets sounds a convincing win, but it was a nail-biting finish. I think it was Emily Windsor and Paige Schofield out in the middle. And yeah, Page 40-odd not out to win the game, but yeah, it was a very, very different story. Probably the closest Loughborough Lightning have come to a point in this competition.
Change bowling at the pavilion end, number 24, Kirsty Gordon.
We've got a bit of spin now as Piper Cleary, just the one over, is replaced by Kirsty Gordon. Kirsty Gordon's a slow left-arm bowler. She has played a little bit for England a few years ago. She also played for Scotland prior to that. I think she made the move. As she comes in, that's her first ball. It's a full ball that's just driven to short mid-wicket for no run.
Yeah, wasn't she forced to make a decision?
She was, yeah.
Then?
I think she's, was Scottish, played for Scotland initially, but obviously moved over to England. That again is a full ball just driven to mid-wicket, again carbon copy delivery. Yeah, she made the decision to try and progress her cricket. I did play for England a little bit in about 2018, I think. She comes in, that's a little bit more width on offer, and Boucher has smacked that over the mid-off field for 4 runs. And there's appreciation from that grouping that Kev mentioned earlier. It looks like a school or something, they're all in uniform.
Probably then.
Yeah, might be a school.
I've just got an answer about the power play here, I think, from Phil Webb, which I'll come to in a moment.
Gordon bowling round the wicket, and that's a dot ball. Oh, misfield, but they're not going to run on that. So this over so far, .4. In comes Gordon to Boucher. That's a full toss that's driven to mid-off for a single. Throw comes in, and Wyatt's been on strike for the first time in a while, I think.
Yeah, just 15 balls she's faced so far, and we are coming towards the end of the 8th over, and she opened the batting. You're right. Boucher's taking it all. Nearly all.
Yeah, Boucher has overtaken her. Boucher on 26, Wyatt on 24. Bit of a change in the field here as Wyatt's on strike there. They're moving mid-wicket a little bit squarer. And Gordon's coming over the wicket now. That's down leg side. Wyatt did have a swipe at that, but it's a player miss, but it will be called a wide by the umpire. And she's coming back round the wicket, and that is just driven up the ground for a single to complete the over. So 7 overs gone. Vipers moving very nicely on 67 for 1. Boucher 26, Wyatt 25.
So good start for the Vipers. I'm told now on the live picture stream you can pick up commentary as well. So all the technicals have been sorted there on Kevin James alongside me. Former Hampshire women's player Gemma Green. Now Phil Webb at Solent Sport on the tweet says in the Big Bash this year they had a 4-over power play and a 2-over power surge that could be taken after the 11th over. So it's either that or an incorrect announcement. Phil, I'm probably going with Phil on that one. And I must admit, I didn't know. I've looked through the Charlotte Edwards playing conditions, and apologies if I haven't got that right, but that sounds perfectly plausible, that one. So Marie Kelly is into the attack. She bowls a bit of a mixture, actually. It'd be interesting to see what she's going to bowl here. She can bowl a bit of pace. She can bowl some spin. I'm told right and left arm. So what are we going to get here? Even Boucher didn't know where to stand. It's round the wicket. It's going to be some off spin here. It's short and it's pulled away. And it's past the field on the 45. And that's going for 4. Again, we see that first delivery from a lightning bowler that's not the best. And it allows the Vipers to put the bowler immediately under pressure. 71 for 1 then, and Wyatt has moved on to 29.
Yeah, Marie Kelly's got the ball in the hands at the minute, but it was with the bat for Central Sparks last year, where she tore the Vipers' bowling attack apart.
She did.
100 not out in the Charlotte Edwards game down at Hove.
That's right, she did, yeah. And Kelly bowls, that's better, but it's cut away by Wyatt, straight to cover, and there is no run. 26 years old now, Marie Kelly.
Lightning were chasing 175 against Diamonds at the weekend, and they had a great start with Kelly and Beaumont.
Oh, it's in the air, and she's going to be caught in the covers. Oh, and she goes there, Danny Wyatt. Got a leading edge there, and I think that's Tammy Beaumont taking the catch again. Quite a simple catch. It just looped up in the air, and Wyatt got that one wrong, and she goes for 29, and that's off 19 deliveries.
Yeah, it looked like that ball just held up a little bit more, and she was halfway through the shot and was committed to it, but yeah, didn't time that well. And Vipers lose their second wicket in the 9th over. The score is 71 for 2, and we should be seeing Georgia Elwis join Boucher at the crease. And that's been confirmed by the announcer. So, yeah, we've got Elwis and Boucher in the middle now. These are the two that knocked off the runs in Saturday's victory.
Georgia Elwis, who was also on the England A trip during the winter, down under. Previously been a full international as well. Had a bit of injury problems, didn't she, 2 or 3 years ago?
She has. She's been in and out of the England side, but she's been in and around the setup for quite a few years now. Obviously been a Viper last year. She got 100, that might have been in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint game, but a really good 100 at Lords, I think.
So Marie Kelly then, who's going to come over the wicket to the right-hander, Georgia Elwis. And the new batter under this new rule, I know one new rule, the new batter has to face, no matter what. So Elwis it is that's facing. She's immediately driving back past the bowler up to mid-off, and that is fielded by Bethan Ellis. Yeah, I've got that rule right. So Marie Kelly again, that's pulled away by Elwis on the 45 on the leg side. Throw comes into the bowler's end, always going to be home, and she is off the mark. 72 for 2 now, the Vipers coming towards the end of the 9th. So we've got still 3 deep fielders on the leg side and 1 out at deep cover, and that's just nicely played by Boucher. Just waited for that and opened the face, tucked it down towards third man. Again, that little group up there at the far end, and the Colin Inglebury Mackenzie stand again and excited as the ball makes its way towards them. Doesn't go over the rope, but Boucher will pick up 2 I think for that one, and it's 74 for 2 at the end of the 9th.
Yeah, Bouchier's been out there for 6 or 7 overs now, and we've seen her play all around the ground already. Different shots, different areas, looking to work that ball and then punish the bad balls for 4. So a really classy innings so far for Bouchier as she moves on to 28. Kirsty Gordon is going to continue from the far end, and Georgia Elwes will be on strike.
Rain is keeping away for the moment, to that forecasted rain anyway, but it's slowly getting nearer as I look up towards in front of us and to our right over the telegraph wood and the trees. That menacing blue sky is still a little way, but it's getting closer.
Kirsty Gordon round the wicket, that's a full ball. Elwes gets an inside edge and that goes past the stumps down to a very fine leg. But they do come back for 2, so a little bit of luck going the Vipers' way there.
5 extra listeners have been with us for a little while, I think. I'm Kevin James. Next to me, former Hampshire women's player Gemma Green, bringing you live commentary of this Charlotte Edwards Cup match between the Southern Vipers and Lightning.
In comes Gordon. Slightly back of a length. Elwes tries to pull that into the leg side, didn't really time it, but they do get a single.
Earlier today, the Thunder were won against the Northern Diamonds. That's probably a slight shock, I think. That's in the other group to these two. Thunder winning by 56 runs that game.
Gordon, Bouchier comes down the wicket, but that's fielded off her own bowling by Gordon for a dot ball. Yeah, I think that was a bit of an upset. So, yeah, Thunder obviously got beaten well by Vipers, but they
come back well.
Yeah, so in comes Gordon. That's just tickled down to backward square for a single. Yeah, I think Diamonds and Thunder on 5 points, as are Vipers before this game. They've got a game in hand. Lightning yet to get off the mark. So, yeah, with everyone beating everyone, it makes for a much more interesting finish to the competition. That's just cut down to third man. They looked for the run but was sent back. I think that was the right decision. Definitely the fielder, I think that Sophie Monroe came in there. No, Ballinger, sorry. Was quick on the ball, straight into the gloves of Sarah Bryce. No run there. And that's a full straight ball that's whipped to the leg side, but the fielding looks a little bit sharp, a little bit closer, and there's no run on offer there. So at the end of that over, Vipers are on 78 for 2 at the halfway stage.
So in that Thunder innings of 148 for 7, Georgie Boyce top scorer there with 65, and the Northern Diamonds bowled out for 92 there. And Hannah Jones, the left-arm spinner, taking 3 for 23 off her 4 overs. The other results so far today: defending champions, the South East Stars, beaten by Central Sparks, as Marie Kelly with her off-spin bowls, and that's almost caught and bowled. She's diving to her right. I think Bouchier there just pushing at that one a little bit. Love to see that on the live stream. Yeah, it was. It was a catch. Chance gone. Bouchier survives on 29. Caught and bowled chance gone from Marie Kelly. I'll have to start again. Bowls from our commentary end. Bouchier on the back foot and steers that into the gap in the covers. That'll be a comfortable single. Bouchier moves on to 30 and it's 79 for 2. So the South East Stars beaten by Central Sparks there by 34 runs. Central Sparks scoring 170 for 6 off their 20 overs. Runs shared there a little bit. Izzy Wong opening the batting there with 45. That's hit down the ground by Elwes. One bounce down towards mid-on. Almost made a mess of by Piper Cleary, but she recovered well, kept it down to a single.
I'm looking through a bit of mesh here, but it looked quite casual, that pick-up.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit. It just bounced in front of her, which probably didn't help. And the South East Stars come back up to that in a moment as Bouchier pulls it away on the onside, out towards deep mid-wicket, where Lucy Hyam comes in off the rope, and it's 81 for 2, and we're 2 balls left of the 11th. South East Stars, Bryony Smith 41 opening the batting with the top score for them, and 4 wickets for Potts there, 4 for 36. That's pulled out towards deep mid-on. Boucher's coming back for 2. Oh no, hang on, sent back by Georgia Elwes. My word, that second one, there was only Boucher running there. Had to be careful. 82 for 2. 1 ball left of over number 11. And the other game going on this evening, which started at 7 o'clock, Sunrisers 25 without loss in the third. They're taking on Western Storm. So Kelly with the last ball of her second over, flighted, low full toss, driven out towards extra cover, but it's hit too well by Boucher, and there is no run there. So 11 overs gone. The Vipers, having been put into bat, are 82 for 2. One change for both these sides from the weekend. Danny Wyatt, who's been playing in Dubai in that Fairbreak tournament, coming into the lineup at the expense of Ella McGacken, and for Lightning they also made one change. Sarah Bryce coming in for Ella Claridge. That's basically a straight swap of the wicket keepers.
There's another change of bowling at the pavilion end.
Change of bowling at the pavilion
Kirsty
end.
Gordon makes way
Lucy
for
Hyam.
Lucy Hyam.
Bit of off breaks.
Yep, a few right arm off breaks. Comes up off just a couple of paces, bowls, and it's actually outside off, but Elwes hits that down to long on for a single. They're looking for the 2, but the Lightning fielding's got a little bit sharper since the power play, and there's no second run there. In she comes. Boucher's footwork down the ground, and that's going to go all the way. Is that a 6? That is a 6. 2 or 3 yards over the rope, down past long off, and that's the first 6 for Maya Boucher. Good use of the feet there.
Yeah, nice timing as well. I mean, that is a slightly shorter boundary up towards the pavilion end, isn't it? The rope must be in a good 12 yards or so, but even so, still a good strike.
It's enough to make Hyam decide to come round the wicket, change the angle a little bit as she moves her boundary fielders slightly. So coming around the wicket to Boucher, and that's a good ball. Boucher just tucks that into the leg side. They run the first one hard, and coming back for a second. There's a shout for run out, but I think she's home with the slide.
2 of the stumps demolished as well. Might be a bit of a break for that. I don't think we want to be hanging around too long, because that cloud is slowly but surely making its way over to the ground. It's a little bit more prominent, but it is still enough. It's enough. It's away enough. I'm confident that the Vipers will get their 20 overs in. Do you think?
I think so. I think that looks far enough away. Boucher flicks that through square leg for a single. They don't risk the second this time. Yeah, it looks far enough away at the minute. I don't think the first innings will be impeded. We'll have to see what happens with the Lightning chase.
Yeah. 5 overs constitutes a game.
Yeah. And Hyam back over the wicket, and Elwes slaps that down the ground. Fielder can't get to it. That's 4 runs down the ground. Great shot.
That's a lovely piece of timing. That was Boucher of a few balls ago, but actually on the onside this time. Super shot from Georgia Elwes. Plenty of experience from her. And he scored 109 runs in this competition last year, which is a surprise. Averaged 18. She's a much better player than that.
Yeah, how many games did she play? Did she play all of them?
She had 7 innings.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
yeah.
a shorter ball. Elwes picks that up early, and she's hit that through mid-wicket. That's also going to go for 4, right by where that little fan appreciation club is.
The Vipers 100
up for the Vipers at the end of the 12th.
I don't know what school it is, but maybe they can give us a tweet and let us know.
That's Solent Sport. I think they're too engrossed in the cricket, to be honest. They're loving it. Every time the ball goes up towards them, absolutely loving it. There are a few others in the ground. There aren't many. You wouldn't expect many, but of course the forecast today hasn't been great around these parts. So
they might be engrossed in the cricket, but there's 20, 25 teenagers there. One of them's going to be on social media at any one point.
Here we go. If they've sneaked out and they go on the concourse, they'll hear the commentary on the TVs that are dotted around the ground. So maybe they've heard that and they can do that at Solent Sports.
12 overs gone, and the Vipers 100 is up. 100 for 2. Boucher's on 40 and Elwes on 15.
So Piper Cleary has switched ends. First over went for 11 for the Aussie. And she's going to come in and try a right arm seamers from this commentary end, the hotel end, with the Vipers on 100 for 2 with 8 overs left, having been put into bat by Lightning. Definitely the weather, I think, would have governed their decision to bat second. I think anybody would do with what's being forecast, but he hasn't arrived yet, and the most pessimistic of forecasts had it raining now. That's edged, and it's almost caught on the 45, and that actually was a great effort, because that ball flew off the edge of Boucher and it went quite low, and that was almost taken, and that saved certain 4.
It did. She went with sort of reverse 2 hands. Wouldn't have had a great sight of that for long, but it was a good effort, like you say, and saved the boundary.
Yeah. Now the field is out deeper, deep square leg, deep mid wicket and deep mid on, and at deep cover. Pretty standard, I guess, T20 field at this point. As Cleary comes in, runs from about 12 yards or so, and there's a little ramp shot there which Elwes misses. She's sort of dancing around the crease there for a moment. Tried to lift it over the keeper. It didn't work. At least he didn't get an edge on it or a face of the bat into the keeper. At least he's still there. 15 off 12, 41 off 32 for Boucher. The 2 batters out, Georgia Adams for 9 and Danny Wyatt for 29. Wyatt coming back into the side at the expense of Ella McGacken, who was out first ball at the weekend. Disappointing for her, especially watching Boucher and Adams go about the Thunder attack, as Cleary comes in again. Slightly slower ball, and that's guided into the gap. Lovely shot there, Georgia Elwes. It's going up towards that school group again. Not quite as vocal as they have been, but we can still hear them. And it's 103 for 2 now. Boucher moves on to 41. She's in fine form in this competition. I spoke to her in the Vipers press day last week, and I put it to her that she could use this competition as a way of getting back into that England side, into the T20 side, because this competition is taking place before the internationals.
It is.
It's all in the air. Now this could be out. Keeper's under it, and that's a simple catch. Just as I speak, it's Georgia Elwes who's gone, who's got underneath that one, got a top edge. It's gone straight up in the air, and in the end, that was quite a nice take from Sarah Bryce. And Cleary picks up her first wicket. Elwes gone for 17.
Yeah, simple catch, but we saw Amy Jones a few years ago for England struggling with those high ones as the keeper with a helmet on. So yeah, Bryce did well to be able to look up and make sure that landed safely in the gloves under this sort of dim cloud
So
with the floodlights.
we're going to start getting into the batters that didn't get a go at the weekend, and well, there's another familiar name which is rolling off the tongue these days. Charlie Dean, who was, I think it's pretty well acknowledged that one of the stars of England's trip down under in the Ashes against Australia and also in the World Cup.
Yeah, she had an incredible winter, hasn't she? This time last year, no international experience, and now she's, like you say, been in a World Cup and an Ashes season. So yeah, it would have been a whirlwind of a winter for her, but she's going to come back to this Vipers squad with all that experience to boot.
Still only 21 years of age, and incredibly already she's notched up 13 one-day internationals. Very quickly, isn't it, how it goes from nothing to a few, considering that this time last year she was just playing for the Vipers and was another one of the side, but obviously earmarked for better things. Here's Cleary, then runs away from us and bowls, and Dean's all over the place there, and there's a appeal for a caught behind. Not quite sure what Charlie Dean was doing there. In fact, I'm not even sure she was. Her right leg was outside leg stump, and she's trying to open the face and play it down towards third man. Interesting opening to her innings.
It was. In the World Cup final, we saw her batting with Siver. Obviously, Siver got a very beautiful big 100 in that game in a losing cause, but she had several people batting with her. Charlie Dean down the order, but she came in very confident, played her shots, but at the same time supporting Siver at the other end.
She's wrapped on the pad there. I think that's going down the leg side. Cleary's just angled the ball in there to the right hander, and Dean trying to play that on the leg side, came across the ball and missed it. If you watch it on the live stream, you can have a little watch of that, and I tell you what, that looks a little bit closer than I thought. If I'm honest, definitely worth a shout. End of the over, 13 gone, 7 to do. Vipers are 103 for 3. You're listening to the Charlotte Edwards Trophy game between the Vipers and Lightning. We're on BBC 5 Sports Extra, so on the BBC Online website, and we're on the live picture feed, which is going through to the Hampshire Cricket website. You can pick up our commentary and watch the game live.
Kirsty Gordon's returning from the pavilion end with her left arm spin. She bowled 2 overs earlier in the game. Maya Boucher on strike on 41 as Gordon comes in round the wicket. Boucher gives herself a little bit of room and hits that through the offside, but for no run.
That was a good over, actually. The last over from Piper Cleary only went for 3.
Yeah, they've pulled this back nicely, actually. Vipers still very much in a healthy position, but they've certainly pulled it back since the power play. Gordon comes in again, and that is bowled. That's through the gate. Boucher with a big stride, forward defence, but that got through, and the off stump has been demolished.
It's gone through the gate.
It did.
It's gone between bat and pad. I think she was just trying to angle it a little bit square on the offside, and of course when the ball is angled into you with the left arm round, you can get a little bit tucked up there, and she has.
She did. We've seen a lot of shots from Boucher. We've seen her strike the ball well, but she was undone trying to defend the ball in the end to the former England Kirsty Gordon. So Boucher goes for 41 off 34, and that will bring Paige Schofield to the middle. Paige Schofield, as we said last year in the away fixture of this up at Derby, was the man of the match with a match-winning chase, 40 not out, I think, hitting the winning run off the very last ball. 41 not out of 36. Really good innings, because the Lightning bowling attack on that day were really good. I think 6 of the 7 bowlers went for a run, a ball or under. So really putting the Vipers under pressure, but Paige saw that through to secure the win back then. So she's out in the middle now. She's going to face Kirsty Gordon for her first ball of the game. And in comes Gordon. That's a full ball, and Paige tried to drive that, got a little inside edge. It's gone into mid-wicket for no run.
No, you're right. I think Lightning are getting back into this a little bit, aren't they? 71 for 1 in the 9th when Danny Wyatt was then out for the second wicket down.
Oh, again, a little edge from Schofield as she's... Oh, the umpire, no, not a no ball. A little edge there into the leg side for no run. So hasn't quite sighted Kirsty Gordon yet. In she comes and she tries to sweep that again, a top edge. It went up in the air. Sarah Bryce, very interested, diving forward, couldn't get a glove on it. Paige was going for the run, sent back, a little bit of drama, but in the end, a dot ball. That would have been a great catch, a one-handed catch by the keeper running forward, but couldn't quite get there. So 3 balls, 3 edges so far, and this is 1 dot ball away from being a wicket maiden. In comes, that's down the leg side. I think that hit the pad maybe. They scamper through for something. No, it was a run. So 1 run off the last ball of the over. Really good over there from Kirsty Gordon. 4 dot balls, a wicket, and just the single.
Thanks, Gemma. Gemma Green's going to take a break, and in alongside me, Kevin James, will be Vipers, Southern Vipers off spinner Charlotte Taylor, who's not actually currently featuring in this competition, but I say currently, that will change any moment, because that's what professional sport is. Charlotte, welcome.
Thank you.
Along. What do you reckon so far then? Because Vipers did really well to start off with. It just looked like Lightning is getting back into this.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? I mean, Georgia Adams and Danny White got off to a flying start this afternoon, so hopefully we can bring it back now and start powering on.
Marie Kelly then, 2 overs, 1 for 11 with her off spin, comes in from our commentary end and bowls, and there's a sweep shot which somehow misses the stumps of Schofield's, and I think they're appealing for a caught behind just for good measure. I don't think that's missed the stump by much, is it?
No, not a lot.
But yeah,
oh no, just bounced over.
Over the top of off stump. So Kelly again then, We'll see open the batting, I'm sure, and that's hit down the ground in the air, but safe. That'll be a couple of bounces down to deep mid-on, where Piper clearly fields just in front of us. I say just in front of us, it's about 100 miles down below us, and a few yards in front of us anyway. We're quite high up here at the hotel, 4 floors up. It's a great view of the whole field, and unfortunately the weather that is inching its way closer to us, away to our right, which is looking more and more threatening. But as I say, I think we'll just about get the Vipers' innings in. We'll have to wait and see then. That's cut away off top edge, but safe down to third man. Charlie Dean will get off the mark with that. And in fact, she picks up 4 runs. And I wouldn't have said this a few overs ago, but I think the Vipers could do with that.
Yeah, she looked to do the right thing, then she popped on the back foot and just got a thick outside edge and ran down to third man quickly. Yeah. So, but the outfield's quick, and these two will run very good between the wickets, very hard. So that will go in the Vipers' favour, put some pressure on these lightning outfielders.
That's right. It's,
some big boundaries here at the Ageas square of the wicket.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. As I say, we're fairly central here as well, which as well with Hove was a fairly central wicket for the Vipers game there against Thunder. There's a reverse sweep, which again is appeal for, I think, LBW this time, even though it's gone into the gloves of Bryce. And from Charlie Dean there, she's playing an interesting knock here.
Yeah, she doesn't quite know what she's doing. I mean, she hasn't had a lot of middle time. Obviously being away with England and then being a sort of like a 4-week break. Yeah.
She looks it at the moment, I have to say. There's a nice drive. That's better. She'll feel better for that as it goes out into the covers. There is a gap there, but there is a sweeper. I think that's Tammy Beaumont right there, who's got a couple of catches already. Tammy.
Yep, she scampers quickly around the outfielders, Tammy.
She does, doesn't it? Now, what's happening with you then? Because, I mean, for 2 years you've been like the main bowler for the Vipers. You would have been the first one on the team sheet. That's hit in the air. This that wasn't timed at all. She's gone for the shot over the top of mid-off and just skied it. And that's a simple catch. And the Vipers are just falling apart here a little bit. The Lightning will be happy with the last few overs. The Vipers now are 110 for 5.
Yeah, I think it's a situation that we haven't found ourselves in very often. You know, we've lost a few wickets and we need to rebuild. And I think Paige may be just looking to go a little bit too hard there before building a solid partnership with Charlie Dean at the crease. So we need to start sort of trying to rebuild a little bit before we maybe power on. But that does bring Freya Kemp to the crease, who's a nice striker of the ball. We just keep coming at you, unfortunately, sometimes. Our batting lineup is extreme, and this is somebody you really want to watch. If you're on the live stream, you want to keep an eye out for this girl.
Or online, anyway. Either way, I'm sure we'll describe it just as well, Charlotte, as on watching on the live picture feed. But yeah, 17 years of age, Freya Kemp. She bowled well at Hove, left arm seam, and yeah, well, you'll have seen her. I've yet to see her with a bat, but she's quite tall, but she's at the non-striker's end.
Yep, she'll be facing up to Kirsty Gordon from the from the pavilion end, who bowls into Dean. Yeah, Dean just clips it through mid-wicket, and she's going to pick up a single. That's a bit better. And Beaumont does the fielding out at deep cow.
So
there'll be a change of field, obviously, now with Freya Kemp being a left-hander. So it looks like she's going to deep square, deep cow, deep long on, and a deep cover.
Feels changing loads here, isn't it?
I think it has to. Sometimes, if they've done their research, they'll find that different players hit the ball in different areas, and Freya Kemp's definitely one of those. So we'll see what happens here and see if she can deal with this pressure. There's a lot of pressure on a 17-year-old at the minute to be in this situation somewhat. But Gordon comes over the wicket to Kemp, bowls straight, pushes that one up to get hover. She's off the mark. She'll be relieved. She'll be definitely relieved with that. It's a good, strong shot. Scampers up the other end and brings the total to 112 for 5. She'll be definitely relieved with that. No, and speaking to her just before the game, she'll be relieved that she's got that off the mark.
Yeah, was she quite nervous?
Definitely, I think we all are. As Gordon comes in again, bowls straight to Dean, pushes that back up to the bowler for no run. She's playing a bit cautiously now. I think she knows now that she's got to rebuild. We've got to start building a total. As the Lightning have come back into this game quite nicely.
Yeah, Lightning got the momentum now, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. Gordon in again. Bit shorter and bit quicker down the leg side. Is it going to be a wide? No, it must have clipped the pad. Yeah. And Bryce does the mopping up down the leg side. We're going to have a change of field as well. Mid-wicket's going to come out and come into short third. So that opens up that big gap. Might get it to play across the line here, I suppose. Little plan.
Must be the way, wasn't it? So I don't see the ball going down to third man at the moment.
She comes around the wicket, does Gordon. She pushes that out onto mid-wicket. They're going to scamper through. She's quick, and she makes it at the non-striker's end, does Charlie Dean. Good run. Well judged. And the field changes again, and the score moves to 113 for 5. Coming to the end of the... Does that say the 16th, though?
This will be the last ball of the 16th.
Yeah. My eyes are terrible.
Oh,
They really are.
is that why you bat low down for the Vipers?
Absolutely, it's where I wear my specs all the time. Gordon comes over the wicket, ball's leg stump line, just pushed out into the mid-on region, there's no run. And that brings us to the end of the 16th over, and the Vipers are 113 for 5 with 4 to go.
1, 2, 3, 4. I reckon about 13 runs off 4 overs.
Yeah, slow going.
For the Vipers, it really has totally changed. 28 for 1 when Georgia Adams was out in the 4th, 71 for 2 when Danny White was out in the 9th, and 103 for 3 when Georgia Elvis was out in the 13th. And really, the Vipers' runs have dried up a little bit in the middle as they've gone from 71 for 1 to 113 for 5.
Be interesting to see whether they think the conditions have changed slightly since when the sun was out at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. And
now the lights are on, ball's skidding on a little bit.
Piper Cleary back into the attack, 2 overs, 1 for 14 for the Australian. She's bowling right arm seam, runs away from us, and she's bowling to Charlie Dean, the right-hander, England player, and Dean cuts that away through point. There'll be 1. Now Dean, is she going to take a second? She will, she should be all right. Throw comes in, but a comfortable second for Charlie Dean, who moves on to 9, and the Vipers 115 for 5. Charlotte Taylor next to me, Vipers off. So 2 years you've enjoyed some really good success with the Vipers, Charlotte. This must be quite difficult not playing.
Yeah, it is. It's not the easiest.
Here comes, I shouldn't ask you that really, Charlotte. It's a bit naughty. It's a length ball, and they're going, Freya Kemp's going to have to hurry here, although the throw goes in at the bowler's end. It just looks like a next generation of players now coming through, and I don't think it's just the Vipers, I think it's everywhere.
No, it's everywhere.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's, we've had 2 years of this being a professional sport now, with extra contracts being added every year, and the game's going from strength to strength, and it's a credit to the competition and to the setups in general. Players like Freya Kemp are getting an opportunity now to show what they can do, and our squad is extremely strong. We've got great depth, but it's what every team needs. Every team needs great depth for when you need the players to come out. So I'll be ready when my time calls.
I'm sure you will. Yeah, it wasn't so long ago. Player of the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy final. As Kemp's on the back foot and hits that out into the covers. Not quite timed. Lucy Hyam comes round from extra cover to field. And Kemp moves on to 2, 117 for 5, 6 wickets in the win over Diamonds at the Edgbaston 2020.
Does seem like a long time ago, though.
Does it?
Yeah. I think a lot's changed since then. My whole world was changed after that. So
it was, wasn't it? Yeah, put you to real prominence, didn't it?
Yeah.
Player of the final. Not many people can claim that.
True, very true.
Here's Cleary bowls, and Dean goes for the little ramp, misses that as it cannons into her front pad.
It's one of her strengths, so I'm surprised that she's not got hold of one yet. But she won't be afraid. She'll keep trying. With the fine leg up, it's a shot that's on. So she's trying to do the right thing.
It's quite interesting, isn't it, really? I mean, I know they all need a break, these players. I mean, it was a long winter, wasn't it, for the women? I mean, that long Ashes trip and then the World Cup in New Zealand as well. They were away an awful long time, and I did sort of speak to Charlie last week about it. She said, yeah, great winter, but wow, a long time for somebody that's not used to that.
Absolutely.
And I can understand why they've had a bit of time off as Cleary bowls. Dean pulls that away on the leg side, gets a good bat on that as it goes out quickly to Lucy Hyam along the deck at deep mid-wicket. And Dean will move on to 11. I think it's 118 for 5.
I think that's the point you made brilliantly there, is that she wasn't used to it, and that was the key part of it. Some of these players are used to it, and they're used to bubble life at the minute, which is just unfortunate. But they are used to it, and Charlie wasn't used to that, so she probably may have found it a bit tougher. Well,
looking at her performances, it didn't do her too much harm as Kemp hits that hard down towards mid-on. Where on the rope there is Kirsty Gordon, who took that catch the last wicket to go of Paige Schofield at mid-off, and it's 119 for 5. But it's interesting. I mean, she's, Charlie Dean, a couple of overs. It's taken a couple of overs to start looking like, getting going. And Anya Shrubsole, interestingly enough, who also had a bit of time off at the start. Her first over at Hove looked a bit average before she tightened up. It's interesting, isn't it? It doesn't matter how good a player you are. You know, if you're not practicing, and you know, even though the rest is much needed and much warranted and much justified, then actually there's no substitute for a bit of practice.
No, and it can bring back the nerves almost. You know, you're back in a team where you're probably expected to do very well and expected to dominate, and it's quite a lot of pressure to put on it. She's still young. She's still only 21, so she's got a long career ahead of her. There is a change of bowling at the pavilion end. Catherine Bryce is going to come back. She was 0 for 18 off her 2 overs to start with. She bowls to Kemp. That's full and driven up to mid-off. They're going to take a single. I think they might have they've gone to the right end, actually. Initially, I thought they'd gone to the wrong end by bowling for end to the keeper's end, but I think that was a good decision in the end, but they make it, the Vipers. These two, again, will be very quick between the wickets.
Yeah, we saw that with Boucher and White.
Yeah, they will. Vipers are now 120 for 5. Kemp 4 from 5. Dean 11 from 13. Field change as well. So we'll have a third and a point. So mid-wicket is open again as Bryce comes in. Charlie Dean, it's a slower ball down the leg side. It's going to run away down to us here. I don't know quite who's chasing that, but it's going to pull up just short of the rope. And that's, I think it might be Teresa Graves, pulls that in, and they're going to scamper through for 3 wides.
I think it was a mis-stumping there, it might have been actually. It just looked like Charlie Dean had just overstretched.
Tough one, tough chance.
Yeah, oh, it's not easy down the leg side, are they? Gosh.
I don't envy being a keeper. I was just doing some warm-ups of Carla Rudd before the game, going, how on earth do you keep doing that? Ball after ball. Bryce comes down towards us here. Another slower ball into the wicket. Dean just pushes that out to deep cover. She's going to pick up one more. Takes total to 125 for 5.
Well, Carla Rudd's picked up many a wicket for you over the last couple of years.
We're best friends.
Catches behind stump edge.
Just for that reason. We do, you have an understanding, I think, is probably the best way to come. She changes the angle, she comes round the wicket to Freya Kemp. Bowls full, that's bumped back over. It's drop catch at mid-off by Piper Cleary. She's actually going to parry it for 4. And that is 4 to Freya Kemp. She's hit it quite hard, but I think Piper would have probably liked to have taken that in an ideal world.
Yeah, difficult chance, wasn't it? Just above the shoulder to her left.
Yeah.
Difficult. I mean, actually,
not a full stretch, no. But probably around her shoulders.
Yeah.
And probably would have wanted to taken that. But that brings the Vipers to 128 for 5 as Bryce is in again. Another slower ball. This is straighter this time from Kemp. It's a strong shot down the ground, and that's gone for 4 as well. That's a great shot back over Bryce's head. So she's picking up these slower balls nicely as she moves from 12. Yeah, 12 from 7 deliveries, 132 for 5 now, the Vipers. Yeah,
and that young group, just about 10 o'clock as we look to our left, getting vocal again.
Yeah, they were doing some skills challenge earlier before we kicked off here over the nursery
you worked
ground.
with them, did you?
Yeah, they were great fun. They were brilliant. As Bryce is in again, wider this time, and that isn't going to be called a wide. She's going to say she's moved across. Sarah Bartlett standing at the pavilion end says she's moved across. That'll be a dot ball.
Close call.
Very tight,
so
yeah.
Where are they from? Because we were trying to work it out. Well, we didn't know really. So you're working with them, but you didn't know where they come from.
I was a late arrival, unfortunately, as Bryce bowls again. That's hit firmly down the ground by Freya Kemp. She's going to get 1. She's going to come back for 2. Yep, they are going to scamper back. That's good running. Wayward throw from Lucy Hyam at deep mid-on. And Freya Kemp picks up 2 more. So that's a good over for the Vipers. 4, 8. Oh, it's gone now. I can't remember how many was from it. But that takes the total to 134 for 5. It disappeared
15.
Just before I tried to count.
15.
Yeah, great over for the Vipers.
There hasn't been an over like that for them for quite a while. So don't forget, we're on the BBC Sport website here for this Charlotte Edwards Cup fixture between the Vipers and the Lightning. bbc.co.uk/cricket. Go to the live action page and you'll find us there. We're also on BBC 5 Extra. Plenty of cricket today. Earlier there was IPL commentary. Now we're here in the Women's Charlotte Edwards Cup. Here's Piper Cleary with a right arm medium pace, bowls, length ball, and Dean plays and misses outside the off stump, trying to work that square on the offside. And Kevin James next to me, Vipers off spinner Charlotte Taylor. We've got Gemma Green, former Hampshire women's player, with us as well. In the break we're going to hear from Charlotte Edwards, the Vipers head coach, talking about her new appointment, head coach of the Sydney Sixers.
Yeah, very exciting.
Listen out for that. It's in the break, because there's a little ramp shot which she was trying to play early. Doesn't really get hold of that. Just about makes it on the 45 on the leg side, but called through for a single by Freya Kemp. The 17-year-old Freya Kemp facing the next delivery. She's 14 off 9. She can also bowl. What a find she is. Enjoyed watching her at Hove on Saturday. A couple of wickets. Nice shape on the ball. She's tall, gets a bit of shape on the ball into the right-handers. She looks a real find.
Yeah, she's fantastic and a great asset to the group.
Certainly is. Here's Piper Cleary again. Keeper still standing up, and that's a good Yorker, and Bryce doesn't take that cleanly, and Dean runs through quickly. And what is that? That's a bye. Good Yorker there, outside off stump from Piper Cleary. Didn't deserve any sort of run off that one. 136 for 5 as we head halfway through the 19th. So we've got 9 balls left of the Vipers' innings here, having been put into bat by Lightning, who won the toss. Not surprising, really, because there is forecast quite heavy rain at some point, but at the moment it's staying away, as that's driven out on the onside by Dean, and they'll run 2 as it's just to the deep mid-on's right. That's Marie Kelly. Had a little bit too much to do.
Yeah, it was a good, well judged 2. Charlie Dean just pops it out to deep mid-wicket, nicely paced. Marie Kelly running around to her right and picks up one-handed. Good piece of fielding, but not quite enough to stop these long boundaries out here, so there's lots of space for 2s.
Yeah, we're fairly central here at the Ageas Bowl with the wicket. There's Piper Cleary, the Australian, comes in again and bowls short, and that's pulled away one-handed by Charlie Dean. Falls well short of Lucy Hyam at deep mid-wicket. In fact, Hyam leaves it alone, and she's going to have to hurry here. Dean to the far end, but she makes it for 2. Not one of her best shots, didn't come out of the middle, but she got 2 for it.
Yeah, it's almost, she'd say it was planned. Just popped into the sort of used wickets, 3/4 of the way out to the boundary, and a little bit of spin, and
yeah,
well judged 2, she'd argue.
She's 17 off 18, Charlie Dean. This is a valuable knock, with the Vipers losing a couple of wickets on 103 and then another wicket on 110. Just got rocked a bit in the middle of their innings, but they're starting to put it together again as Dean works that around on the leg side, walking across the stumps. Again, she doesn't quite get hold of that, but she'll pick up a single and she'll keep the strike. We've got 1 over to do here at the Ageas, with the Vipers 141 for 5.
Yeah, at the start I think we'd be looking for 150. I think that was going to be, you know, a minimum for us. So we'd be quite happy where we are, providing obviously we get at least 9 off this last one. But I think, you know, the Lightning have come back into this massively, and I think at the start, when Adams and Wyatt were going quite hard at the start, they'd probably be thinking that they wanted more than this, but they've pegged it back well.
They certainly have, and the Lightning have kept things going a little bit. 2 wickets for Marie Kelly. She's the
did she bowl with her left hand earlier?
She does. She bowls mixture, doesn't
yeah.
she? Right or left.
Did she do it today?
No, she didn't. Just right
okay.
today. But she does both, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
I thought she did. Yeah.
She was doing it in the warm-up. We saw both left-hand, right-handed, right-hand dominant, but can bowl with her left hand, which is
that's bizarre,
I don't know
isn't
anyone else that does that in the professional game. So she'll be the first. Change of bowling. Grace Ballinger is going to close off from the pavilion end. She comes round the wicket to Charlie Dean, who just pops that into mid-wicket. They're going to try for 2, but Bryce is scampering out from behind the wickets and reduces it only to 1. And that takes the score to 142 for 5, and that brings Freya Kemp on strike. She's 14 from 10 balls. She's seeing it well.
She's in for life, isn't she, Freya Kemp?
She's doing all the right things at the minute, and they're going to have both. Yeah, they're going to go both back straight. So they're going to have a deep long on and a long off, deep cover and deep cow, mid wicket. And she comes over the wicket to Freya Kemp, who steps across her crease. She's picked that out. It's going to be 1 bounce, 2 bounces out to deep mid wicket. And they're going to pick up 2. A wayward throw. I thought they might have come back to 3 then, but they decided not against it, as Bryce does again, the mopping up.
I'll tell you what I'm loving out there at the moment. Charlie Dean's having to take charge of the running between the wickets because Freya Kemp just looks like she wants to run everything. So Charlie is having to not only concentrate on her own game, but also make sure that Freya Kemp doesn't run when she shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, that'll be a bit of a man or woman management, player management from the senior pro in Charlie Dean, age 21, as Ballinger comes around the wicket to Dean. Short of a length, she tries to cut that. Weight was all going backwards. She needs to stay in the shot a little bit longer and carve that through backward point, but it's a good ball from Ballinger. Changes her length.
I think we're quite surprised she missed that, really.
I think we are.
Yeah.
143 for 5, with 3 balls remaining of this innings. Dean just takes a break, has a little think. Ballinger stands at the top of the mark, throwing the ball from one hand to the other. She runs towards us here, bounding in, and comes around the wicket. She's going to go for the paddle this time, and it's going to go all the way to the boundary. Very, very fine. I think it's going to be wide. She doesn't get anything on it. I thought she did.
Bonus.
It is a bonus. Bonus 5 wides for the Vipers. As Dean looks to play that ramp shot. It's a strength of hers, so she'll be probably a bit annoyed that she's not actually getting any bat on it, but she'll be happy with the 5 wides as a result. And I don't know whether it's going to promote change in the field. Nope, they're going to leave the field exactly where it is. As Ballinger stands at the top of her mark again, she have to re-bowl that one. So the Vipers are 148 for 5 now. As she comes into Dean. Full ball outside the off stump. And they're going to scamper through for a single. Wayward throw from Bryce as they come through for that single.
I was just going to say, I didn't think she took her glove off, but she did. But she must have the same colour in the gloves as she's got keeping gloves. But yeah, I thought she was a goner there, run out. Very surprised at that.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a wayward throw. I think they're both so quick, and if they go straight away, I think they're going to make it. So they just need to be confident in that they've only got 2 balls left, and they need to take every run that's on offer out here. As Ballinger changes the angle, comes over the wicket to Kemp, who flat bats it over extra cover, and that's going to skip away along the outfield. It's going to go for 4. She's playing a blinder here as Freya Kemp brings up the Vipers 150, and she'll be very happy with that. She's flat batted it over extra cover, short of a length from Ballinger, a bit too much width that Kemp created a little bit for herself, and she's powering this innings on. Vipers are 153 for 5, and she's 19 from 12 deliveries with 1 ball left to go. And Ballinger's under pressure here to deliver. We've got to the 150 that we thought we were going to get to. Ballinger over the wicket to Kemp, full. She's gone straight back over the bowler's head. It's not going to reach the boundary, but it's going to plug, and they're going to scamper back. They're going to pick up 2 to finish as Kirsty Gorman mops up. And the Vipers finish 155 for 5 at the end of their 20 overs. Cleary finishes with 1 for 26 off 4, and Ballinger there bowling the last over, 0 for 29 off her 3. And the Lightning would be happy with the majority of that innings. Kemp finishes 21 from 13 though, and she put the pressure on the Lightning at the end of their innings. Dean finishes 20 from 22 and played that sort of rebuilding role that I spoke about earlier. Kev.
Thanks very much, Charlotte. Charlotte Taylor will be back in the second innings. Are you hanging around?
I hope so.
Yeah, so, very much so. Charlotte Taylor, who's not part of the Viper squad currently in the Charlotte Edwards Trophy, but has been very much a prominent player for them over the last 2 years. She'll be back in the second innings. So will Gemma Green, former Hampshire women's player, and myself, Kevin James, will bring you a reply. Now, to bring you a weather update, for me, we're in uncharted territory a little bit, because I think the most pessimistic forecast down this way was that we would get some rain around 7 o'clock. That may just have been pushed back a little bit. There are thunderstorm warnings for this area as well for now on, and I have to say that the cloud, which does look threatening just about 1 or 2 o'clock as I look, and a bit further round as well, is staying a little way off. I think the lack of wind is actually just keeping the weather away from us a little bit, but I think if you pick this ground up and put it about another 7 or 8 miles maybe to our right, then I think we'd be in more trouble. But I think not only are we going to get the Vipers innings in, but I think we might get a large part of the Lightning innings in as well. Remember, we need 5 overs to make a game of this. Now in the break, we're going to hear from Charlotte Edwards in a moment, because she was this week confirmed as the Sydney Sixers head coach for next winter. So we got some reaction of that, and also if we have time, we'll have a little bit of Chloe Hill, who's on loan from the Central Sparks. She's a wicket keeper, and she's on loan with the Vipers. We'll play that out if we have time. So just to bring you the details then of the Vipers innings, they won the toss. Sorry, they lost the toss and were invited to bat first. They got away to a decent start, 28 with Georgia Adams and Danny White, before Adams was out in the 4th over, 9 off 11 balls. And then Danny White took it through to the 9th over, when she was caught in the covers, leading edge off Marie Kelly for 29. That came off at 19 deliveries, 5 fours in that innings from Danny White. She looks in decent touch. She's just got back from Dubai, where she's also been playing in that Fairbreak tournament. Georgia Airways perished in the 13th. Caught by Sarah Bryce off Piper Cleary for 17. Maya Boucher looked in good touch to go with her innings in the game on Saturday. She was out for 41. That came off 34 deliveries. She was out in the 14th over. Paige Schofield out in the 15th over for 2. And then Freya Kemp, the 17-year-old, taking it through to the end. 21 not out off 13 deliveries. Charlie Dean, 20 not out off 22. 155 for 5. The bowling figures for Lightning, led by Marie Kelly with 2 for 17 off 3. Bowling off breaks. You heard Charlotte Taylor there saying, did she bowl any left arm? She does bowl both, but she didn't on this occasion. They were all off breaks, or as far as we could see anyway, certainly right arm. There was a wicket apiece for Sophie Munro. She opened the bowling, 2 overs, 1 for 16. Piper Cleary, 4 overs, 1 for 26. And Kirsty Gordon, 1 for 15 from 4. And to bring you up to date with what's been happening in the Charlotte Edwards Cup in the other matches, 2 results already. Northern Diamonds lost to the Thunder. Thunder lost heavily to the Vipers at the weekend. Northern Diamonds beat Lightning. Well, the Thunder came out on top on that one. They won by 56 runs. Thunder scoring 148 for 7. Northern Diamonds at 92 all out. And the defending champions, Southeast Stars, lost to Central Sparks by 34 runs. Central Sparks hitting 170 for 6 off their 20 overs. The Southeast Stars bowled out for 136. And one match that's also taking place, or another match that's also taking place this evening, it started at 7 o'clock, whereas the one here started at 6:30. So they're a little bit behind there. The Sunrisers taking on Western Storm. The Sunrisers 109 for 3 in the 14th over. Gay Scrivens not out 49 there for the Sunrisers against the Western Storm. Right, you're up to date then. We're in the break here at the Ageas Bowl. The lights are on, and well, it's getting a little darker anyway because we're at that time of the evening. But as I say, that dark cloud, which is menacingly hovering around just away from the ground for the moment, is still having an effect on the light, actually. But fortunately for us all, it is managing to stay away. Right, Charlotte Taylor, Southern Vipers off spinner and former Hampshire women's player, Gemma Green, will be back with you shortly for live commentary of the Lightning reply. And let's hear from the Southern Vipers head coach, Charlotte Edwards, shall we? Because earlier this week it was confirmed that she is the new Sydney Sixers head coach, and she will be travelling out there during the winter to take up the head coach's role. And earlier, in fact, on the announcement of that, the BBC's Ian Wilding spoke to her, and here's her reaction. I'll try and actually, let me try and redo that, because I've got 1 or 2 technicals here. I did try this out earlier, and it sort of worked, but I think it will now. Just bear with me for a moment. Right, this should be Charlotte Edwards talking about her new role as the head coach of the Sydney Sixers.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It was a role I wasn't expecting sort of to come up, if I'm brutally honest. But I think yeah, once I went through the process of applying for the role, yeah, I'm massively excited. You know, you don't often get to work with some of the best players in the world, and I've got that opportunity, and I really wanted to test myself and challenge myself, and I've done that, and I feel this is the next step for me in terms of my coaching career, and I've got a huge ambition to go on and coach internationally, and I feel this is the next step for me, and I'm massively looking forward to it.
And as you say, you've been over in Australia a number of years now. That's going to stand you in good stead, isn't it, for this step up?
Yeah, I absolutely, think that, you know, my time with the strikers has really helped me prepare me for this role. And, you know, I've played in it for 2 years and I've coached in it for 5 years. So I know what the competition's about, and I feel like I'm ready now to go and hopefully put my stamp on the sixes, and but yeah, no, work closely with our senior playing group and younger players, which it makes me even more busier, I think. But I think, you know, as I said, it was a position I couldn't turn down.
Talking of being busy, how much do you enjoy that balance, though, a couple of months over there in Australia and then coming back to England?
Do you know what? I wouldn't have been the coach I am had I've not gone out there. I think I've learned so much from Australia, and I hate to say that, but you know, they've developed me massively as a coach, and I've been able to then give back to this group over here, and you know it's been incredible, really. I've been really lucky to work with some people I have worked with over there, and yeah, it's a great time to go out there. I get to miss a bit of our winter, and I get to develop myself and I challenge myself, and I think that's important as a coach. You're always trying to strive to be better. Like any player, they obviously want to go on and play for their country, and I obviously want to do the same in their coaching capacity. But there's plenty of time to do that, and I'm enjoying every minute of being involved here and in Australia.
That's Charlotte Edwards talking to the BBC's Ian Wilding on the news earlier this week that she is the new Sydney Sixers head coach, and she'll be heading out there for the next Women's Big Bash campaign down under next winter. It looks like the two umpires are making their way out onto the middle. I'm just looking at some of the ground staff who rather worryingly are making their way over towards the large hover cover. So that might tell you that rain perhaps is not too far away. So the Southern Vipers are making their way out onto the middle, and 156 the Lightning need, but I think, Gemma, that just maybe this innings, it might not only get interrupted, but what we need, of course, is 5 overs.
Yep, and I think one of the wickets that fell in the latter stage of the first innings, I don't know if you saw, but the Lightning drinks runners were turned away by the captain in an effort to get the overs done and get through the innings. So they're obviously aware of the weather that could potentially be on its way. Certainly, you want to be chasing if there is an element of some kind of interruption in the second innings. But we don't know what that will be, or if it will be at all. We may still get the 20, and we don't know.
So the two teams are out there in the middle. That's the good news. We are going to get some play in this second innings. As I say, what we need, of course, is 5 overs to make a game. So I have the Duckworth Lewis is going to be on the board, so that will help us along our way. 156, should we get the whole 20 overs in, or maybe not quite the whole 20 overs, and if Lightning bat brilliantly, which I'm sure they'll expect to get away to a good start. And it's going to be Lauren Bell then, with her long blonde hair with her seamers bowls, and that's turned away by Marie Kelly on the 45 on the offside, and that is a dot ball, and the Lightning innings is underway. And already I have to say that there's more of this game being played than I thought there would be.
Yeah, and if you ever want some firepower opening up in what could be a curtailed innings, Tammy Beaumont and Marie Kelly certainly offer that.
They certainly do that.
It's vital that Vipers make this breakthrough and make it early.
Yeah, Marie Kelly, as Gemma mentioned earlier, got 100 against the Vipers, and that's racked on the pad. It's a no ball. I thought that looked pretty close to being LBW, but it's a no ball from Lauren Bell, overstepping. Don't forget, we're on the live feed. This is a free hit as well, this next delivery. We're on the live picture feed. Just go to the Hampshire Cricket website or the Vipers Twitter feed. You can watch the live pictures coupled with our commentary. We're on the BBC Sport website as well, and also on 5 Sports Extra on the BBC. Here's Lauren Bell, short, and that misses. Marie Kelly trying to pull that away on the onside and misses that one. Surprising. Now, Lauren Bell bowled a couple of short balls at Hove at the weekend and got a 1 wicket with it, and at least one of those deliveries, and does dig it in. She's got a little bit of pace about her.
She's got pace and height.
She certainly has, yeah.
So yeah, she can bang it in a little bit shorter than some of the other women on this circuit.
Yeah, part of the England A team out in Australia, the winter as well. Comes in right arm over. That's a nice shot on the up, but only as far as Danny Wyatt, I think that. No, it's not Danny Wyatt. It's Paige Schofield in the covers. Danny Wyatt square. Actually, no, it's Charlie Dean square. Wyatt is deep on the leg side. Thank you, Charlotte Taylor. She knows where these Vipers field. She doesn't even need to look. She knows exactly where every one of them is. One without loss in the first over here. Duckworth and Lewis at the end of this over is 4, but it means nothing because we need 5 overs for a game. Here's Lauren Bell, bowl, short, and she's hit. Oh, she hit on the helmet there a little bit. I think there might have been a glove, maybe onto her shoulder as it goes out on the leg side. Not a glove. I think that might have come off the forearm.
Yes,
no, we're going to get
the helmet.
Yeah, so it's flicked. I think it's flicked off her forearm onto her helmet.
A bit of time delay here.
We don't need that.
No.
Look at that cloud, and it's infinitely darker. That blue cloud that's been away to our right for forever, really. Well, it hasn't been forever, actually. It was lovely and sunny when we got here this afternoon, but slowly but surely that blue cloud has been filling in. It's very dark now, but fortunately it's still to our right, and we are okay. Oh, above us, it's cloud, but it's not as blue. So we're okay for now.
I was talking to Charlotte in the break and was saying it looks like a difficult pitch to time. We saw there were some beautiful shots on the Vipers, but every batter that got in seemed to have a little bit of trouble timing, especially shorter balls. Sort of a lot of pull shots that weren't timed as well as we've come accustomed to from the top order Vipers batters. So yeah, 155 could be a decent score.
Yeah, Kelly's all right, and Beaumont's on strike now, the England player, and it's just turned away on the onside. That's good running, especially to Maya Boucher, who's normally lightning at mid-wicket. Maybe that ball was hit a little too short of her and she had a bit too much to do. Normally she covers everything in that area. So 3 without loss to the lightning. Beaumont off strike. Beaumont almost 200 internationals now. What a servant she's been for England. But it's Marie Kelly on strike as Lauren Bell comes in and bowls, and Kelly hits it up in the air. Now who's under that? Carla Rudd, the keeper, and she goes. Well, that'll be a huge relief for the Vipers, because Marie Kelly, as we said, got 100 against them down at Hove in this competition last year, 100 not out for the Central Sparks, and she started well in this competition as well with 46 and that win over Northern Diamonds on Saturday, and she perishes for no score. Court Rudd, bowl Bell.
That couldn't go any better for Vipers, to be honest. Like we said, these two are a powerhouse of a pair, and they needed that early breakthrough. And Lauren Bell got it as early as the first over, so that's a fantastic start for the Vipers. Their game on Saturday, the two, Tammy Beaumont and Kelly, were the only two that got into double figures, so the rest of the batting lineup yet to prove what they can do this season, so hopefully Vipers can capitalise on that. It will certainly, if nothing else, it will slow the run rate down with Kelly back in the dugout.
Just 3 runs off it as well. Sarah Bryce, the new batter for Lightning. Been playing for Kent in the early season T20 tournament.
Yep, also obviously from Scotland as well with her sister, but played for Kent and just very recently back, as is Danny Wyatt, from the Fairbreak tournament in Dubai.
Yeah.
So we've got the young Freya Kemp with her left arm to open up from the pavilion end. She made her long-awaited debut on Saturday after being sidelined with injury for so long. She comes in over the wicket. And that's a good length ball that's just cut away, backward a point, really well fielded there by Lauren Bell, diving to her right to stop it on the ring for just a single.
2 for 13 off the 4 overs for Freya Kemp on Saturday.
Brilliant.
What a start to her senior Vipers career. And
then what could be a really important little knock there with the bat, 20 odd not out at the back end of an innings after Vipers were had a good start, then they were slowed down a little bit in the middle overs. But Freya Kemp and Charlie Dean put on some quick runs at the end to get them over that 150 mark. As Kemp comes in, and that's a full straight ball, and Bryce can only push that into the covers for a dot ball.
Now she got a little bit of shape on Saturday, Freya Kemp, into the right-handers with the new white ball, which of course left arm over is a very dangerous delivery indeed. We saw Grace Ballinger get a bit of swing, didn't we, in the lightning innings with the new ball, but she bowled a little bit too leg stumpish, and in fact down the leg side. Be interested to see if Freya Kemp can get the same sort of swing.
Yeah, she started well. She comes in again, bowls again, straight ball. That's a play and miss. I might have done the batter a bit of injustice there. I don't know if she pulled out inside the line, but it looked like a play and miss. Straight ball just outside off stump.
Well, it didn't swing. Watching on the live feed. No, it's just gone across her a fraction. That's actually a good delivery, that. Bit of bounce, bit of pace. Nice stuff from the 17-year-old.
Yeah, promising start to her career, promising start to this over. She comes in again and bowls. Again, a full straight delivery. That's clipped round to the leg side. Lauren Bell does the fielding again on the ring for a single. Just the 2 runs off 4 balls for this over so far. After the brilliant first over from Lauren Bell with the big wicket of Marie Kelly. There's a lot more noise in the field from Vipers, it seems, than there was from Lightning. Bell to come in and bowl, and again that's down the leg side. That will be signalled a wide. Beaumont tried to flick that down to find leg, but it was a wide, and that's an extra run onto the total. 6 for 1.
Well, a few World Cup and Ashes players on show out there today. Danny White, Charlie Dean, Beaumont, Shrubsole.
Elvis.
Yeah.
In she comes, and that's driven down the ground by Tammy Beaumont. That's a great shot. That's really well timed. That's going to go all the way for 4.
It's a nice piece of timing, that, isn't it? I'm not even sure that's a half volley. Just watching on the live picture feed there, and yeah, pretty close to a half volley.
Really quick hands through the ball.
Beautiful shot.
Okay, and Freya Kemp's coming in for the final ball of her over, and that is straight ball again, just pushed into the offside. They take that quick single that we saw so much earlier with Danny Wyatt, and that completes the over. The score is 11 for 1 off 2.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on that Duckworth Lewis, because even though we haven't had 5 overs completed, of course once we do, then it is very much game on. So Charlotte Taylor is just, I presume she's sort of showing that the clouds actually are staying to our right. I think actually we're going to miss it quite incredibly. You're right. I think the cloud is sort of coming slightly to our left and sort of going over our right shoulder, and I think that is actually getting us out of jail, because all the bad cloud is just to our right, and it is only just to our right. So we are pretty lucky here. Here's Lauren Bell then, and bowls with a right arm over, and let's wrap the pad there of Beaumont. That goes on the leg side. That'll be a leg by. Carla Rudd comes round from behind the stumps. Sure, the umpire's going to signal. Yes, he does. And the Lightning move on to 12 for 1. So at the end of this over, the Lightning need to be, or at the end of this, sorry, the next ball, sorry, the Lightning need to be 19. They're 12 for 1, but we are only in the 3rd, so we are a little way off that 5 over mark. But I think we're going to be all right here. Incredible, absolutely incredible if we get away without having had any rain. Here's Lauren Bell, bowls, and oh, she's bowled! Oh, that's nipped back, and that's Sarah Bryce gone. That may just have wrapped the pad and gone into the stumps, but even so, she has gone bowled by Lauren Bell, and oh no, I think she's actually just stepped outside the line and tried to play across that bit. Off stump's come out the ground.
It looked
she
like
goes
it
for
was
1.
swinging into her and then just nipped back at the last minute.
It did, didn't it?
Really good ball there from Lauren Bell. And as we know with Duckworth Lewis, every wicket that falls, that required score jumps up significantly. So not only is it a dot ball in terms of no runs scored, but it also puts the Duckworth Lewis score, should we need it, even higher.
26 it's jumped to now with that wicket. 12 for 2. Sarah Bryce back in the pavilion for 1. Before her, Marie Kelly back for no score. And the Lightning, who got away to a great start in their win over Northern Diamonds when Kelly made 46 or 37, Beaumont 59. They put on 79 for the first wicket in just over 10 overs. That has not happened for them here. And as Gemma says, that the rest of the batting rather fell away at the weekend. Well, the Lightning won't want that to happen here.
No, and you can tell, like we talked so much in the early stages of the first innings, the Lightning fielding in the ring looked a little bit set back, a little bit slow.
Beaumont to face Bell. She drives to extra cover, fielded by Elwes.
And it was enabling the top order Vipers batters to get those singles that perhaps they shouldn't have. This is a different situation. The Vipers here very energetic. You can see walking in, as soon as the ball's played, they're all attacking the ball and stopping those singles, and that could make the difference if it does go all the way.
Yeah, apologies, it's Catherine Bryce actually on the strike. Oh, so the scoreboard's telling me, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, Bell's bowls. And that's just a length ball, which is played back to her. She's just getting that little bit of a late in swing, Lauren Bell, which she's known well for. It also has sometimes been a big hindrance to her, because sometimes she hasn't been able to actually master that in swing, and there are games, and in fact she did it a little bit on Saturday, where she finds the ball going down the leg side and then she hangs it a little bit more outside off stump and it stays out there, and she does struggle for line a little bit, but she's got it right here at the moment. 2 for 2, and she's in her second over. She's bowling to Bryce and just loses her run up there towards the end.
Yeah, I think we saw at the start of her career with Vipers, we saw a lot of wide, like you say, a lot of loose balls down the leg side, but she has got better and better at controlling that as the seasons have gone on, and certainly at the start of this season.
Very much on the England radar, hence she was with the A team out in Australia during the winter. That's a good length ball which Bryce just works out into the covers. That's fielded by Paige Schofield, and again there is no run. I think, and I don't want to labour the point, but having sort of gone on about it, I think more and more this cloud is going to miss us, and we are, as I say, if we were a little bit more towards the New Forest and just the other side of Southampton, I don't know what the weather is like over there, but I can guess. But here, I think we're going to be all right. Here's Bella goes, and there's a bit of bounce there, and Bryce just struggles to stay on top of that as that goes out into the covers. Charlie Dean fields, not cleanly, but the idea, of course, is to make sure that no run is scored, which he's done. And that is 3 overs gone then. And the Lightning, who are looking for 156 for victory here, are 12 for 2. So a good start from the Vipers. A wicket maiden there for Lauren Bell.
It looks like we're going to have a change up already at the far end. And Freya Kemp is going to make way for the huge, vastly experienced Anya Shrubsole.
Over 170 internationals. She announced her retirement last month. Wow. She took an over to get into her bowling at the weekend. I guess just having a break, having come back from New Zealand.
Yep, she's put in a lot of overs for England with Catherine Brunt at the other end often. But yeah, like you say, announced her retirement, and she's now here with the Vipers, coming into bowl over the wicket, and that's a straight ball on the toes of Tammy Beaumont, but she manages to dig that out to mid-wicket for a single.
Shrubsole to Beaumont would have been a line of attack that would have happened a lot in nets and practice.
Yeah,
she
absolutely.
would have faced a lot of Shrubsole in the nets.
Yeah, Shrubsole does. She does get a lot of movement early on. So, although we've got Freya Kemp and Lauren Bell, we've got three bowlers that are more than capable of moving that new ball early on, and that could be really key here in this power play as she comes in and bowls. That's wide of off stump, and Beaumont threw her hands at that, and she's going to get 4 through backward point. Really good cut shot there.
Yeah, we saw a couple of those deliveries in her first over, wide of off stump. Just looks as though she's a little bit short of match practice. Doesn't matter how many internationals you play. You need to keep practicing. And I guess she deserves a rest, to be fair to her.
Yeah, she would have had a busy winter, obviously, in the last year of her career. So yeah, definitely deserve that rest. But that's a better ball. That's straighter and tucked onto the leg side by Catherine Bryce for a single.
Well, it's starting to get dark here, and then we've got the lights on. It's that in-between light now, isn't it, where we're not in darkness and we're not in light, and very much the floodlights in play.
So the two boundary fielders are both on the leg side for Tammy Beaumont. The Shrubsole comes in and bowls. That's a straight ball. There's a big appeal there for LBW. Umpire's not looking that interested, signalling a leg bye as they scamper through. Have a look at that on the replay. It was always going down, but good ball from Shrubsole and a big appeal from the Vipers, and just the one run, the leg bye off that ball.
Runs off every ball so far with Shrubsole.
She comes in and bowls, and again that's whipped through the leg side for a single. I think about the second, but it's not there. The Vipers fielding is, I think that's Charlie Dean who's in on that. Danny Wyatt. I'm corrected by Charlotte Taylor. Thank you.
She knows them all. She used to glare at them if they didn't field properly off her bowling.
Okay, and the final ball of this over. Shrubsole coming in over the wicket. Bowls, and that is flicked. That's a really flicky, wristy shot from Tammy Beaumont as that goes to square leg, which I believe is Danny Wyatt, for a single. That's the end of the fourth over, and the score is Lightning are 21 for 2 in chase of 156 for victory.
After 4 overs, the Vipers had 31. They were 31 for 1. Georgia Adams had gone by now, or in fact the fourth over of the Vipers innings. The Duckworth-Lewis total, we have to keep an eye on that, of course, just in case we're on the end of the weather. But I think actually Charlotte Taylor's right. You should get a job as a weather girl, you know. You weather person, I should say weather person, shouldn't I? Weather person, because you're right. The more after every over now, I think we're more and more clear of that weather. Here's Lauren Bell then, runs away from us and she's bowling. It's up in the air for Beaumont, and it can't quite get there. Boucher misses the fielding and could have run her out as well. There are 2 chances to get rid of Beaumont, who turned the face of the bat, got a leading edge, the ball went up in the air. Neither Lauren Bell or Maya Boucher could quite get there before it went to ground, and then Boucher looked as though it was going to be a certain run out as she ran towards the bowler's end to pick it up. Couldn't pick it up cleanly, and Beaumont gets away with it.
I think she had one eye on the ball, one eye on the stumps there. Yeah. And
Beaumont is the one to get out, that is for sure. They played a Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy match here last year, which the Vipers won by 4 wickets, and Beaumont got a half century in that game. Here's Bell, and that's pulled away by Catherine Bryce out into the deep on the leg side. That's Danny Wyatt, and Bryce will move on to 7. It's 23 for 2 then. They need another 133 to Lightning. We're in the 5th over, which is great news. In terms of we've definitely got a game on in another 4 balls, and the Duckworth-Lewis total, should there be any rain at the end of this over, at the moment is standing at 39, so they're 16 runs behind the Lightning, but I think we're going to get more than that in, that's for sure. Forward is Beaumont, pushes that to mid-wicket, and Boucher picks that one up cleanly. She's not going to make the same mistake there twice, taking her eye off the ball. Just watching a jet take off from Eastleigh Airport, going up south of us as we look over the pavilion. That actually is south, and that's towards the Solent. Eastleigh Airport's to our right, which serves Southampton and the region. A couple of planes have taken off that way in the last 20 minutes or so as Bell bowls, and that's a nice cut shot there, and she's pierced the field. Beautiful shot there from Tammy Beaumont, but it was just guided rather than hit, and she'll pick up 2. And Beaumont now moves on to 12. And the Lightning on to 25 for 2 here. Bell into her 3rd over. The temperature's actually, it's not dropped that much. Sometimes when you get a lot of cloud around, the temperature suddenly drops, but we haven't really had that.
No, it feels pretty pleasant out there. I'm sure it's not bad conditions temperature-wise for playing in. A nice sort of balmy evening.
Perfect. This is a standalone game here this evening, one of those double headers which we'll get later on in the season with this competition, as it's played out on the onside to another length ball from Lauren Bell, which just comes into Beaumont. She's on 12 off 12. Steady start from the England player there, and she needs some support, which the openers for Lightning didn't get when they lost to the Northern Diamonds at the weekend. Lauren Bell just steadies herself, runs from just inside the discs Runs away from us and bowls. Down the leg side, flicked off the pad. No, it's a wide. Didn't flick off the pad. It was angled, just pitched and just went further down the leg side. Good take from Carla Rudd, moving smartly to her left. Score is 26 for 2. Duckworth Lewis total at the moment 39, and we have one more ball left, and then we have a game. And at the moment, Lightning are 13 runs behind where they should be, but as I say, I don't think we're going to get any rain, not for a while now, if at all. That's a good Yorker, which is played into the ground by Beaumont, and Bell fields off her own bowling. 3 overs, 2 for 7. Good start from the England A bowler there. Shrubsole 1 for 8 from the far end at the pavilion end. Lightning 26 for 2. Catherine Bryce faced the next over. She's 7 from 8, 12 from 13 Beaumont. That one, the 2 wickets that have fallen. Marie Kelly skied a pull shot off Bell for no score, caught by the keeper, and Sarah Bryce bowled by Bell for just 1. 3 for 1, 12 for 2.
Yeah, there's just 1 over left of the power play. Tammy Beaumont's going to need to make the most of this, because for the remaining overs, obviously Vipers can have a little bit more protection to her shots if they need it. That's a great shot. Catherine Bryce has just creamed that through extra cover for 4 runs. We've got Freya Kemp coming back into the attack at the far end, so where we've had Kemp, Shrubsole Kemp up there, so the Vipers are changing it around a little bit. But that was a great first shot from Catherine Bryce.
Super shot, wasn't it?
So left arm is coming in, past the umpire and bowls, and that's a fuller delivery, straighter, and it's just tucked onto the leg side for a dot.
Kemp's first over went for 8. 30 for 2. Lightning need another 126, and the Duckworth Lewis at the moment is 45. That's where Lightning need to be. It's always a good guide as well, I think, when you're chasing, isn't it? It's just to give you an idea if you're not very good at adding up.
In comes Kemp, and that's down the leg side and goes past the keeper. Bell gives chase. They're going to take a second. There could be a run out here. No, she's back in safety. So they ran 2 off the wide, so there's 3 wides to the total, and the ball needing to be rebowled. So that's a little bit untidy from the Vipers. I think Rudd got a glove on that, but couldn't stop it. And in comes Kemp. Catherine Bryce still on strike. That's also down the leg side, but she just manages to get sort of top of the bat on that and turns that 2 square leg for a single. Score moves on to 34 for 2 as we coming to the end of the power play.
Catherine Bryce only played 3 matches in this competition last year. Total of 29 runs.
Yeah. There's a bit of discussion going out there from the experience of Shrubsole, talking to her younger seamer, Freya Kemp, about the fielders. They've made a change. They're bringing the deep third man up, and they're putting out extra protection on the leg side. So there's 2 out there on the leg side as she comes in and bowls, and that's just pushed into the offside. They scamper through for a single, and that's well run.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out why Catherine Bryce only played 3 games, and as Charlotte Taylor just pointed upwards. So I meant Scotland. She was playing for Scotland up there. I thought she was pointing up to I was thinking she could see a cloud that I couldn't see, but what she meant was she was playing for Scotland, and that
Up
pointing
north.
up there.
In comes Kemp and bowls, and again that's just pushed into the offside. There's no run there as the Vipers fielders are very alert and quick onto that.
So 35 for 2 Lightning. 121 they need from here. It's good. If Beaumont bats through or gets near through, which he's more than capable of, this could be a very close game.
Okay, Kemp to Bryce, a straighter ball again, pushed into the offside for no run. That's a good end to the over after a little bit of a wayward start. Score is 35 for 2 after the power play. Lightning in chase of Vipers 155, 156 to win.
Gemma Green is going to stay on, former Hampshire women's player. Another word from her, and then my place is going to be taken for this next period of play by Southern Vipers off spinner Charlotte Taylor.
It looks like the Vipers are out of the power play now, but they are giving Lauren Bell her 4th and what will be her final over of her spell and of the day. She's bowled really well so far, picked up the 2 vital wickets and only gone for 7 runs in her 3 overs. So she's being given her 4th and final as she comes into bowl over the wicket. That's a straight ball that's flicked by Tammy Beaumont. That's going to go for 4 over mid-wicket. Another great shot, very wristy from Tammy Beaumont over leg side.
Hello, Jem.
Charlotte.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. You?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. We've got off to a good start here, the Vipers, and we'll be looking to take some more wickets. Lauren Bell bowled beautifully first up, and she continues to do so now. It's very rare that she's going to bowl all 4 in the power play. Well, I suppose we're just out of the power play, but all 4 first up, not leaving her any for later on. So they're targeting Tammy Beaumont, I think, to try and get her out. I think that's the plan.
Is a bit of targeting her, and also while she's in rhythm, keeping her on.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of both, I think.
As she comes in and bowls, and that's a straighter ball, and Beaumont's flicked that down to fine leg. It might be a leg by, actually. It's come off the pads, but they come through for an extra run to the total.
Yeah, they'll scurry through these 2, making the most of every single run that's out there. They're going to need to. That will, as Kev keeps mentioning, up to 50, so 10 runs short of it at the minute.
Bell coming in and bowling to Catherine Bryce this time, who drives that ball straight past the hand of Lauren Bell. She's got a little finger to that as it just carried on to mid-off.
Yeah, that'd been a tough chance.
Yeah, they're never easy.
Especially if she's a very tall girl. She'll stand up after she's put everything into that delivery and have the ball bump back at her. Sort of head height is going to be a challenge.
A long reach up from her follow through.
Absolutely.
It's really good stuff from Bell as she comes in and bowls again. Foolish delivery that's driven into the covers by Catherine Bryce, and they'll pick up a single there.
Yep, likes to play square of the wicket as Catherine Bryce. Much more confident there than I think down the ground. Hence why you've got your 2 fielders square of the wicket. She's gone with 2 at square of the wicket and 2 behind the wicket. So I'm not looking to bowl anything too full, just back of her length, and hopefully she's going to get rid of Beaumont with this delivery.
As she charges in, nice and tall, and bowls, and that's a full toss, and that's bowled her. That was...
it's like I called it, Jem.
Full toss. Beaumont tried to look to hit that over mid-wicket, and I think she got a little inside edge onto that, and it's clattered into the stumps. The stumps are all spread eagle, and Beaumont, that's a huge wicket, is walking back to the dugout. Well bowled, Lauren Bell. That's 3 wickets for her.
It's like I just mentioned it, but then obviously she didn't bowl anything that was back of her length. It was a full delivery, in swinging Yorker, very difficult to play, and it was too good for Beaumont on this occasion, and it sends her walking back to the dugout. So Vipers find themselves have their noses in front at the minute, I would say.
Yep, this is an incredible start from Lauren Bell. 3 for 12 with just 1 ball left to bowl today. Her captain, her team, her coach couldn't ask for more in this defence.
And I think that's exactly what George Adams and Nanya Shrubsole, they've been having a conversation saying, do we bowl Lauren for another over, do we not? And the risk has paid off. So to get rid of Tammy Beaumont, the big international wicket, they'll be very happy with that decision, that's paid off.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure now on the rest of the batting lineup, and as we said earlier, there's not a lot of runs in this competition from this Lightning middle order so far, so a lot of pressure on them as she comes in to bowl her last over, and that was nearly caught behind it. It was edged by the new batter Teresa Graves, and it hung in the air for what seemed like a lifetime, and it looked like it was going into the gloves of Carla Rudd all the time. In fact, I think it did go into the gloves, but it soon came out as well. So that's a bit of a disappointing end to what is a fantastic spell from Lauren Bell.
Yeah, that could be it will be a match-winning spell if they go all the way in and take this victory. It's a fantastic effort from Lauren Bell. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 12, and she's got 3 huge wickets in those of Beaumont and the 2 Bryce. One Bryce sister and Marie Kelly. So she's been fantastic in this opening spell.
Don't exaggerate on the number of Bryce sisters.
There are only 2 Bryce sisters, I think.
That we know of.
As she so often does after the power play's over, Charlie Dean is going to operate from the pavilion end. And she's going to bowl to Catherine Bryce. Her field, for the listeners, she's got a deep cover, deep square, deep mid-wicket and a long on. So quite a standard field. And she's going to operate over the wicket. She turns one hand to the other. She comes in now over the wicket and bowls full, and that's just nudged into the leg side. Shopsell comes around to cut that off, and Bryce picks up one more, and the score is 41 for 3. And of course you can listen to us on BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra, and obviously online on the website, in the BBC Sport website, and on the live stream. Kev's giving me a thumbs up. I've done well. I've summed it up brilliantly, which I'm very happy about because I thought I was going to get all of those wrong. So I'm very happy. Charlie Dean comes in again then, so she's bowling to Treves Graves, and that's full, and that's just placed back to her, and there is no run. She likes to bowl the ball full, Charlie Dean. Big turner of the ball.
Go on then, Charlotte. I can hear some voice in the Vipers. Who's the loudest? Who are the louder ones in the field?
Now you're asking me. As Dean operates again, as another fuller delivery, it's pushed just back with a point. Freya Kemp comes around, does the fielding left-handed, so it's come all the way around it, and they're going to pick up one more. Score is 43 for 3. Loudest.
When you're out there, who can you hear?
Georgia Ellis is definitely one of the loudest. She operates, from extra cover, tries to get in the batter's ear, so you can definitely hear her. Dean in again, slightly shorter delivery, push back pass. She gets one hand to it, and the fielder at mid-off is the captain, George Adams, who I think she was quite relieved that didn't sort of parry past her.
I don't know why, but I imagine Danny Wyatt's quite loud, but obviously she's on the boundary a lot.
Yeah, that's probably why she is out there.
I was going to say.
As Dean comes in again, and that's full, that's just pushed out to deep cover. And Nancy Harmon out there is going to do the fielding. They collect one more. Scores 44 for 3. Duckworth Lewis now 61.
So it's not so much to do with her athleticism and excellent fielding. It's to keep the noise out.
To keep her quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can ask her that at the end of the game if you like. As Charlie Dean comes in again, that's straight, and it's pushed straight to mid-wicket, and Shropshire does the fielding, and that brings to the end of the 8th over, and the Lightning are 44 for 3, and Dean's over goes for just 3.
Yeah, Vipers very much in control of this game at the moment, of this defence, mainly thanks to Lauren Bell's 3 wickets. Big 3 wickets at the top of the order, both openers out. And have put Vipers very much in the driving seat here.
Yeah, they've done fantastically well, haven't they? There's going to be a change of bowling again from this end. The hotel end being that of Georgia Elwes, so another experienced bowler in these conditions, and this playing under light. She would have done a lot of that for England in her career.
Would you say she's one of the best in the Viper squad at just line and length?
Absolutely.
She's so consistent.
Yeah, she is very consistent. There's lots of similarities between her and Paige Schofield. They operate in much of the same way.
And in she comes for her first ball, and that's a straight ball, and it's driven but only as far back as the bowler herself. She fields it off her own bowling for a dot ball. So we've got Catherine Bryce on strike at the minute on 15, and Teresa Graves at the other end on 1.
Yeah, she'll pride herself on hitting the stumps here, Georgia Elwes, and bowling her variations.
In she comes, and that ball's just clipped into mid-wicket for 1. They run 1 hard, and there's no coming back for a second there. Yeah,
it is quite square of the wicket here at the Ageas Bowl, so we're quite central. So there are 2s on offer if they wish to scamper hard, but we've got our fielders sort of 5 yards off the edge of the boundary rope trying to cut that off.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main differences. As we were saying earlier, there were 1s and 2s that the Vipers were taking that they're not giving Lightning with their position. As she comes in and bowls, and that's straight, and again clipped into the leg side for a single. Again, they run that. That's nothing more than a single.
Yeah, she's covered a lot of ground there, actually, probably run about 20 yards and picked it up just outside the 25-yard circle, so she's covered a lot of ground to make sure that they don't pick up a second there. So that's a brilliant effort from her.
And in comes Elwes past the umpire, bowls. That's a slower ball, pitched up, and they're going to get a single for that. I don't think Catherine Bryce knew a lot about what was happening there. The slower ball sort of did her, but she got bat on it, went into the leg side, and they did come through for a single in the end.
Yeah, I think she might have thought that it went a bit straighter than it did. It did, you know, it's a genuine single, went straight to an empty mid-wicket region, and they do pick up one. Just need to do a little bit of rebuilding here, Lightning, which they're doing at the moment.
And Georgia Elvis in she comes to Graves. Again, slower ball, and Graves has gone forward to that, but the ball's gone nowhere. In fact, she's handed it back to the keeper. And that's another dot ball from this great start from Elvis. Just 3 runs off 5 balls so far, with, as Charlotte and I were saying, just that line and length attacking the stubs, not giving the batsmen any freebies or anything that they can swing their hands at.
No, absolutely not.
And her final delivery is over the wicket. That was a little bit short. It's gone out, but that's going to... that was nearly caught mid-wicket by Nancy Harmon, who was in absolutely the right position. Did everything right until the very end when the ball went in and out. And that was a pretty straightforward catch, wasn't it, Charlotte?
Yeah, she'd pride herself to take that, to be honest. I mean, she's done all the hard work, like you said. She's got there. She was just on the move when she tried to take the catch, and ultimately that was probably... you know, why she dropped it, but you know, she should be taking those in training. She'd be disappointed, but she looks like she's going to get a chance to make up for it pretty quickly, because Georgia Adams is about to give her the ball, so hopefully she get that out of her mind as she can come on and continue the pressure building that we've started here.
So Lightning are now 48 for 3 off 9, as we've got a change of bowling, and the player that just dropped the catch, she's now coming on to bowl, as Charlotte said, from the pavilion end.
Yeah, she's going to look to bowl her leg breaks here and put some pressure on Teresa Graves. She's got a deep cover and then 3 on the leg side. She comes in over the wicket, a bit short in length, and that's misfielded by Georgia Elvis at extra cover. She's disappointed with that, and they come through for 1. Scores 48 for 3. Graves is 4 from 8. Bryce is 17 from 21. And we're in the 10th over here at the Ageas Bowl on this Wednesday evening. She comes in again, she comes in wide of the crease and bowls a bit shorter again outside the off stump. Similar delivery, similar result. No, this one's going to be 4. Charlie Dean does everything that she can out there at deep cover, but she's come short, and they're going to pick up 4, and that takes the Lightning to their 50. 38 minutes, and we're in the 10th over. And that's a brilliant shot, almost sort of slapped it, but it was too short and too wide from Nancy Harmon, and she'll be disappointed with that. She tries to make up for it here, bowls short again, the straighter this time, it's a much better delivery. Misfielded again, Lauren Bell's dived, that's not Lauren Bell, sorry, it's Freya Kemp has dived over it at backward point, and Charlie Dean's now laid spread out on the deck as well, as she's missed it at deep cover. So that's back-to-back boundaries for Catherine Bryce. She moves to 25 from 23 now, and Lightning are 57 for 3, and that's going to promote and change in field. So mid-wicket's going to come out, and Shrubsall's going to come into a sort of a second point, if you will, telling Freya Kemp to move round.
The international players, the sort of long-standing international players like Elvis, Wyatt, Shrubsall in this game.
As Nancy comes in again, she bowls straighter, that's a better length, much fuller, pushed out to Georgia Elvis at extra cover, no run.
They will have played under lights several times in their international career, but for the rest of you guys, it's a new thing, isn't it, the last year or so? What's it like? How different is it? I'm thinking of that catch that...
As Nancy bowls, that's a wide outside off stump, a very loose delivery there. They're going to pick up an extra 1 to go onto the score, that's 58 for 3. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a new experience for everyone. I think it's something that we're all going to have to learn how to do, how the ball plays differently under lights. As Harmon comes again over the wicket, slightly back of a length, it's cut, it's picked up by Freya Kemp at point, and there is no run.
Do you get to do much training with that?
We don't actually, and that might be something that we need to work on in the future, is training more under lights. Just for these situations, we don't have too many games, but they will become more and more frequent, so it's something that we need to look at doing. As Harmon bowls again, that's slightly back of a length and wide, it's misfielded by Freya Kemp at backward point, and they pick up 1 more. It will just be a single. She does the fielding, the throw comes back in, and Carla Rudd does the keeping, and that is the end of the 10th over. We're halfway through the innings. Lightning are 59 for 3, and Duckworth Lewis is at 79. So like Kev said earlier, it does give you a good gauge of where they should be. So they're about 20 off the pace at the minute. But we are, you know, it's all in the balance at the moment. It could go either way. But back to what you're saying about the about training under lights and bits and pieces is definitely something that I think that they'll do more of as we become more exposed to training at these, you know, international facilities and bits and pieces like that. So it will be something that we'll do more of for sure.
Shrubsole coming in from the hotel end. That's full and straight and just turned into the leg side by Catherine Bryce. There's a single there on offer, and she moves on to 27. She's going nicely a minute about run a ball, I think it is. I can see the board just about from here. It's a nice steady start, but something's got to give if Lightning are gonna have any attempt at chasing this 155. In comes Shrubsole, shorter ball picked up early by Teresa Greaves down to mid wicket, and again just a single there. The Vipers field is very much on it.
Yeah, they are. They've got the fielders in the right place. Annie Shrubsole has a lot of international experience, and she will know exactly where she wants to bowl this ball, exactly where she wants to be hit. So she'll be in control out there for sure.
And she starts her run up. She's coming in, bowling to Catherine Bryce. That was going down leg side. It's hit the pads, but it was going down leg side, so there's no run there. And another dot ball, another bit of pressure on the Lightning side as the required run rate is creeping up with every dot ball or single that they score.
Yeah, it's now almost finding itself at 10s, which is actually a bit more than I thought. And obviously the current run rate is 5s.
Shrubsole in, that's a shorter ball picked up, and that's really well fielded that time at deep, well, just in front of deep square. Just another single, so just 3 off this over so far.
Yep, she'll want to be hit there. She doesn't mind being, you know, hit into the leg side. She's got 3 fielders, 3 of our best fielders fielding out there, so that's where she'll be looking to target and being hit.
And Shrubsole into Greaves, who drives that through the offside. Again, fielding set perfectly as you'd expect from that experience, and there's just a single there again. So just dealing in dot balls or singles this over, which is exactly what Vipers need.
Yeah, they do that. Like you said earlier, Jem, that required run rate creeping up to 10.2 now, and it gets worse with every delivery, every dot ball, every single.
Shrubsole's final ball of this over, slower ball, and Bryce tried to cut that, but it was a play and miss, so really, really good over, just 4 runs from it. Completes the 11th over, and Lightning are on 63 for 3 in chase of 156 to win. Catherine Bryce on 28 and Teresa Greaves on 6.
Yeah, there's a little bit of rebuilding happened, but I think now they need to start looking to pick up a few more boundaries during this middle phase. That's what sort of the Vipers started to do, and during their innings, and you know, came to their demise sometimes, but they're always looking to take the positive option. As Charlie Dean comes back again from the pavilion end, she's into a second over, that's down the leg side. I think they're going to come through for a leg bye as Carla Rudd does the mopping up, and it will be signalled leg by Sarah Bartlett. The Lightning are now 64 for 3, and Dean has very tidy figures at the moment. 1.1 over, sorry, it's just gone for 3 so far. And that's fuller delivery, driven up to Georgia Adams at mid-off. And as we were talking about the lights earlier, Jem, they've definitely turned on now. It looks a lot brighter out there, and the ball will skid on the surface and in the outfield. So the girls need to be switched on here, make sure that they're stopping every single run. Slight field change, cover comes up, mid-off goes back. Dean comes over the wicket here to Bryce. She pushes that into mid-wicket, and there is no run. Annie Shrubsole's patrolling there, nothing's getting past her. We're well into the 12th over, and Dean looks like to be in a bit of a rhythm here, which could be quite dangerous. They're changing it again now. So cover's going to go back out. Nancy Harmon jogs back out to the deep cover boundary, and Georgia Adams comes up to mid-off. So they're playing around with the field a little bit. She's going to try something differently here, maybe. A quicker delivery this time. As they come through for the single, they're going to run to Georgia Adams at mid-off, who misses the stumps. I'm not quite sure whether it would have been out if she hit. But they do scamper for a single as we're just looking on the live stream. And no, I think she was safe. Just about.
Yeah, like you say, Charlie Dean looking in rhythm, and Vipers looking very much in control at the minute.
Yeah, they do. As Dean comes in again, tight to the stumps. And nope, nothing. I thought she might have, well, nothing really happened. It was just, it hit her pads and it sort of spooned up into the air, and it's a dot ball at the end of all that. I thought it could have done a number of things, but it did none of them. That was me just getting excited as I'm now a fan of my own team. That's a fuller delivery by Charlie Dean. They're going to scamper through for a leg bye as it comes down to Lauren Bell. Very fine. Yep, it will be a leg bye. And not picking up the boundaries, like I said earlier. They're not doing that, the Lightning. They're sort of just stuttering at the minute. 12 overs have gone. They're 66 for 3. And they look like they're struggling now as the required run rate is now at 11.3. And that Duckworth-Lewis is now up at 90... Oh gosh, can't see that. 93. Thank you, Kev. It's that white font is not playing ball.
Yeah, you stick to weather,
yeah,
Charlotte.
a weather woman,
yeah.
as I was called earlier.
Okay, we've got Elvis coming on from the hotel end as she comes in and bowls. It's a straightish ball, but it's whipped into mid-wicket for a single. The Lightning's prospects getting sort of ever shorter here. We need something really, really special from the girls in purple if they are to pick up their first point, but it's with the Vipers bowling attack and the overs they've got left, it's looking ever more unlikely. As in comes Elvis, bowls shorter, and Bryce has stepped back and cut that 3-point, but again it's just that single, so it's a good shot, it's well struck, it's well timed, but it's just a single, and it's not enough.
Not at this stage. No, to put it bluntly, you're absolutely right. It's not enough at the moment. The Vipers do look in control. Every good shot's going to fielders, which is exactly what we as Vipers want to see.
Elvis past the stumps, bowls. It's a slower ball, and Graves tried to sort of drive that, got a little inside edge, and just went straight back to Elvis for a dot ball.
Yeah, she's struggling here, Graves. 7 from 15, striking at 46, so she hasn't quite got it going. But she needs to try and find a boundary to relieve some of this pressure if she can.
Elvis to Graves comes in. Again, a slower ball, and that's spooned up in the air. That's going to go straight to Georgia Adams at mid-off, and that is another wicket for the Vipers. Teresa Graves goes for 7 off 16. Elvis picks up the wicket. Georgia Adams picks up the catch.
Yeah, it was a bit too short, bit too straight to play that back over the bowler's head like she tried. It was the right idea though. She's trying to take a positive option, and you've got to commend her for that, but it's ultimately come to a demise, and she has to leave for 7. But she's doing exactly the right thing. The Lightning do need to get moving here. Required run rate now up at 12s, and they're only going at 5.4, so there's a big difference there. So yeah, they're going to struggle to reach this target if they don't find some boundaries, so they might have to be a bit inventive, try out all their shots they've been trying throughout the winter as Bethan Ellis comes to the crease.
There'll be something within the Lightning unit as well. I mean, Vipers very much the opposite. You have a winning mentality. You get on a win. You usually start strong at the start of seasons. You get on a winning run, winning mentality. You've been in finals day of this last year. You've been winners of the final of the Rachel Hayhoe Flint the last 2 years. As we said earlier, Loughborough Lightning didn't pick up a point in this last year, and yet to pick up a point yet. So they're very much, they don't know how to win a game of 2020 at the minute. It's not something they've done before, and yeah, that's kind of showing a little bit in their intent. Elvis comes in, that's a slow ball, full toss, and that's carved through the covers for a single by the new batter, Beth Ellis.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's all about sort of that mentality and how to win games, and they might be thinking, you know, rather than how can we win this game, sometimes it's like, well, how do we not lose it? And that might be the mentality that they're going into the game with, which is something that needs to change, unfortunately.
Elvis past the stumps, bowls, that's down the leg side. It's going to be called a wide by the umpire. Keeper Carla Rudd stood up to Elvis, takes that nicely down the leg side. And Lightning are 70 for 4 as Elvis tightens her bun and gets ready to run in and bowls. Shorter ball that smacked through long on. And again, they run the first one hard, but no 2 on offer once again. So just singles again from this over, and the score is 71 for 4 off 13.
Yeah, we've got 7 to go here at the Ageas Bowl. The lights are on. There's a milled around the pavilion. A few fans have come out, even though the weather forecast suggested potential thunder. Yeah, the school crowd's gone home. it's bedtime. It is a school night, unfortunately, so that might be a legitimate excuse why they have to go home, which is fair enough. I can't complain. But I'd be staying out to watch the Vipers and Lightning big game here in the Charlotte Edwards Cup on this Wednesday evening. As we've got a change of bowling from the pavilion end, Charlie Dean's going to come off and Freya Kemp is going to continue her great start. She was 0 for 17 off her 2 overs at the start, as she comes over the wicket to Catherine Bryce. And it's a shorter delivery. It's pulled into the leg side. Paige Schofield scampers round and it will only be 1. So these are the types of situations whereby that could have gone anywhere, but the Vipers have got their fielders all in the right positions, and they only pick up 1. They've done a fantastic job so far at defending this total. Slight field change. Cover's going to come up. Nope. Long on's going to come up.
So we've got fine leg back.
Yeah, so their fine leg's gone back. So it's fine leg, square leg, deep cow, and a deep cover. She comes over the wicket as a tighter in line, pushed off just off the hip of Bethan Ellis, and they scamper through for 1 more leg by. Yep, that's picked up, and they'll pick up 1 more, and that takes the score to 73 for 4. Catherine Bryce is 34 from, gosh, can't read, 32 from 36, and she might need to take some more impetus in this innings if they're going to get anywhere closer to this total. Freya Kemp comes over the wicket wider this time, and the outstretched arms of Catherine Bryce can't get to it, but it's not signalled a wide, it's just inside that wide line. Not quite sure what the umpire's saying to George Adams there. Hopefully they're not running behind time or anything like that, but that might be a conversation. The Vipers can be prone to being slightly behind time. As Freya Kemp comes over the wicket to Bryce again, that's Fuller, it's lofted up towards mid-on, and Maya Boucher's going to do the fielding, and that will just be 1 more to the total, so that's 74 for 4.
Is it an hour and a quarter in this, like the domestic men's T20?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So how are we doing, Jem? What's your maths like? Better than mine?
Quick maths.
I can't work it out, but the Duckworth Lewis is at 102, so they are quite far behind the pace. And, well, no, they're probably getting tight, as Kev just shows me. They've got to complete their overs by 9:15 as Freya Kemp comes in there, and they pick up 1 more to mid-on. Maya Boucher again does the fielding. And the Lightning are 75 for 4, so it will be tight, I think. They've got 6 overs to bowl after this, and they've got just over 20 minutes to do it. Freya Kemp comes in now, she passes the umpire over the wicket. That's back of a length, that's cut straight to point. There's a misfield by Charlie Dean at point, and they're going to come through for 1 more. And Maya Boucher comes in from the long on boundary to pick up that overthrow, and it will just be 1 more to the total, and the Lightning are 76 for 4. So at the end of the 14th here, we've got 6 to go. The required run rate at 13.3. I'm going to be joined by Kevin James again in a minute. If you're on BBC online, listening online on the website, or on BBC Radio Solent Sports, what is it, radio?
BBC 5 Sports Extra.
That's what I meant to say.
I know.
And I just couldn't quite grasp it in my brain.
It was close enough.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
A-star for trying.
Yeah, that's all right. Charlotte Taylor, Vipers off spinner, and I'm Kevin James, joining you for these last few overs here at the Ageas. Here's Beaumont, former England international, and that's driven back to her by Catherine Bryce, who's playing a nice innings here for the Lightning. 34 off 40 deliveries, and from here the Lightning need another 80.
That orange is glaring when it comes up on the screen.
It is, isn't it? It's a very orange Vipers screen when the names come up. Shrubsole with the keeper standing up. Carla Rudd runs away from us and bowls, and it's pulled away by Catherine Bryce out on the onside. And Boucher comes in. They don't take a run to her and get away with it. Well, they don't take 2. They don't. They're not going to risk it on that occasion. So 77 for 4. Another 79 needed. We're in the 15th over here. And that run rate that you've been mentioning, Charlotte, is creeping up all the time. They need another, well, it's just under 14 runs and over from here on in.
Yeah, is it 79?
Yeah.
Does that say on the score? It's a big ask from here.
Shrubsole comes in again, and that's full outside the off stump, but it's very full, and Bethan Ellis can't get the bat down and work it into the gap, and the ball just trickles back to Shrubsole on her follow through. Remember, the Lightning lost their first game on Saturday. That was against the Northern Diamonds. The Vipers won their first one convincingly against the Thunder, and it looks like the Vipers are going to make it 2-2 here this evening. We've missed all the weather, unbelievable, and we're still playing. Here's Shrubsole. It's a rather ungainly cross-bat shot by Bethan Ellis out towards deep mid-on, and that'll only be a single. They need to do something here, Lightning, don't they, really? Tammy Beaumont has been a big blow for them, going for 17. She was the third batter out at 41. Before her, Sarah Bryce, and before that, Marie Kelly, who's a very dangerous player, were out for 0 and 1, sorry, for 1 and 0 respectively. Here's Shrubsole bowls, and that's pulled away, a bit more strong this time, but it's straight to Boucher at deep mid-wicket, and Catherine Bryce, who looks up to the skies. I think she already knows we've missed the weather. I think it's more the fact that she can't find a gap.
Yeah, she'll be disappointed that every good shot she plays, it's going straight to a fielder, and that's exactly what the Vipers want, and it's unfortunately exactly what the Lightning don't want to happen.
79 for 4, 77 needed. Here's Shrubsole again, and bowls. That's Fuller this time, and it's hit in the air, and it's just over backward a point. Charlie Dean's running back, and leaving it to the cover fielder, the deep cover field. I think that's Paige Schofield out there, away to our left in the deep, and that is a couple of runs to end Shrubsole's over. She has 3 overs, none for 17. It's 81 for 4, the Lightning. 5 overs left. They need 75.
Yeah, they do. They look like they're struggling here. Run rate up at 15s with 5 overs to go, and this has been quite a dominant bowling innings by the Vipers. They've bowled, you know, straight. They've bowled to their fields, and Lightning haven't had many answers at the minute. And I don't know whether it's, you know, if the ball's skidding on a little bit, it might be harder to bat on. I always thought it would get easier, but I don't know.
That's what a lot of the men's sides think, don't they?
Yeah, but it's not potentially not proving right here. As a change of bowling, and Charlie Dean's going to operate from the pavilion. That's shorter in length. That's pulled away in front of mid-wicket. That's shooting across the outfield, and it's going to be 4. It's beating Danny Wyatt out there. She's full stretch, and Catherine Bryce picks up 4, and that's a much-needed boundary for the Lightning.
Catherine Bryce has been playing a lot of cricket. She was out in Malaysia during the winter in a tournament involving Scotland and Sri Lanka, Kenya, Bangladesh.
Well, there we go. As Charlie Dean comes down, that's shot over the bowler's head. That's a brilliant shot from Catherine Bryce. This is the impetus the innings needs, as she takes a couple of steps down and just lofts it over the bowler's head, and that goes for 4. She moves for the 44. From 44, she's now at a runner ball, which is fantastic. And the Lightning are 89 for 4. And that run rate just creeps down just under 15s now.
Yeah, 67 still needed.
Yeah, could they have done this a bit earlier? Will it make a difference? We will find out as Charlie Dean bowls again. That's shorter in length. That's pulled away in front of square. Paige Schofield comes around, and it will just be a single this time, as she does the fielding, and Carla Rudd mops up.
Well, Catherine Bryce is going great guns here now, isn't it? It needs batters to support her.
Absolutely.
A lot of pressure just to do that.
Yeah, it is, and could she have done it with a couple more people sticking around? We will never know. But we still go here. Charlie Dean over the wicket to Bethan Ellis. She's been given LBW. She steps across the crease, and there was a big shout from Charlie Dean, and it's been given. And Bethan Ellis, she goes 5 from 6 balls, LBW to Dean. And yeah, she just stepped too far across there and tried to play an almost like a paddle sweep round the corner, seeing a gap backward a square, and it doesn't pay off on this occasion. So she goes for 5, and the Lightning are 90 for 5 now, and that wicket does hurt them. And again, they can't build a partnership between Bryce, Catherine Bryce, sorry, because of course she's got a sister in the team, Sarah Bryce, Catherine Bryce, and she's going to have to start again with a new partner.
Yeah, this is the difficulty now, isn't it? And they had that problem against the Northern Diamonds at the weekend, where Kelly and Beaumont made runs, but the rest of them down the order didn't get double figures, as Gemma mentioned earlier. So Sophie Munro is the new batter for the Lightning.
Yeah, she played for the London Spirit in the 100 last year. I'm not sure if she batted at all, but she did bat against us in a warm-up game when I was playing for the Southern Brave last summer, and she does give the ball a whack.
Does she?
So she'll need to do that here. She does hit a long ball, so it'll be interesting to see whether she can get going almost straight away. She's going to need to, as Charlie Dean comes into her now, over the wicket. She hits the ball strongly through extra cover. If I say that ball's skipping around the outfield. Nancy Harmon come around, she's going to cut it off, and they'll pick up 2 past extra cover. Georgia Elwes there sort of dives over it. and they will pick up 2, and the Lightning go to 92 for 5, and Monroe is off and running.
64 needed.
Absolutely. Dean comes in again. She bowls to Monroe, who takes a couple of steps down, and she's going to be... It's a miss-stumping by Carla Rudd. I thought she'd taken it. It was full, and it was just hit her sort of mid-shin, and she's not being able to pick that one up cleanly, so that's a miss-stumping from Carla Rudd. She'd be disappointed with that. But the Lightning are 92 for 5, and that's the end of the 16th over, and they still require 64 to win this game with 4 overs remaining.
She's had a mixed night, hasn't she, Carla Rudd?
Yeah.
Dropped that catch off, well, I think it might have been the last ball of Lauren Bell's spell. Not a difficult catch, was it Teresa Graves? Lauren Bell would have picked up 4 wickets instead of the 3, although still bowled well, not the top of the Lightning order, but even so, Carla Rudd missing the stumping there as well. So it's unlike her, she's normally pretty tidy. 4 overs to do then. Here's Elvis, slightly slower ball, and that's carved out on the onside by Catherine Bryce, and that's gone to Boucher. They're going to run 2. Boucher didn't quite pick it up cleanly. Again, I think the ball's just sort of skidding around on that outfield. Where are we? Just after 9 o'clock in the evening here at the Ageas Bowl. We'll keep you up to date with what's been happening around the country in this competition. Earlier, the Sparks beat the... Hang on, coming back to the moment. It's pulled out on the onside. I have to keep my eye on the action as well. And that's beaten the field. Oh my word! I think Boucher, and who was that as well?
That's
with
Nancy
her?
Harmon.
Nancy Harmon. I'm not sure they both knew exactly what was going on, but Catherine Bryce with that ball shot reaches 50, 51 of 47 deliveries, and with 7 boundaries, and she is playing a quite superb knock here for the Lightning.
Fantastic. They sort of left it to each other there a little bit, didn't they? As the ball does skip across this outfield under lights, and it does get quicker as it goes across the ground. And I think Boucher left it for Harmon, and Harmon had to do a last-minute dive at the last minute.
Oh my word, that's a horrible slow ball, which is outside the off stump, and it was almost not called a wide by the umpire. I didn't think the umpire was going to call it at one stage, but fortunately they did. So that takes the Lightning on to 99 for 5. Bryce has 51. Monroe has 2. They need 57 here, and we are nearly halfway through the 17th over. Here's Elvis with a right arm medium paces, tries to mix up the pace, and that's a little cutter there. That's hit out in towards extra cover by Bryce. She moves on to 52, and that is the 100 up for Lightning. It's a round of applause. It's a small crowd, but it's a crowd.
Yeah, and we're happy to have them. I mean, you know, like we said 2 years ago, I was playing in a final that didn't have any fans in the ground, and that was quite bizarre.
Of course, that was COVID years, wasn't it? Yeah, that Rachel Hayhoe flank. Oh, that's a full toss outside the off stump. Now the umpires are going to call that. They're having a chat. What are they going to call it?
It's a no ball.
Is it?
Yep, he stuck one arm out, and that will be a free hit, I think. Yep, that's signalled by the umpire.
No ball signal, meaning the next delivery is a free hit.
It's a free hit, as you've just heard there from the stadium announcer, Robbie. He's doing a good job, Robbie, as he always does here. So Elvis comes in again and bowls to Monroe. Monroe carves that away on the onside, misses it though. Ball just trickles off the arm, I think, taken by Rudd coming in front of the stumps. 2 balls left of the 17th. The Lightning are 101 for 5.
In a minute that you might not know the answer to.
Right.
But I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Because I'm interested to know. And I'll ask it to you after this delivery from George Elvis.
Okay. If it's anything to do with rules, you're wasting your time. Plays and misses outside the off stump there. Monroe trying to hit that with a crossbait on the leg side.
No, it's not to do with rules. It's more about what we were saying about the ball skidding on, and you know, when you're bowling it sort of skids on a bit quicker. That would make Carla Rudd's job a lot more difficult, I would assume. Yeah. Yeah. So that might be not an excuse for a misstumping.
But it looks it. You're right. It comes there. Always, I'm being unkind there. That's right up in the air. Now Rudd's right underneath her, under the stumps, and she takes it. Good catch. Well done, Carla Rudd. As I said, she's had a bit of a mixed night. That's gone high up into the night sky. She hardly had to move from behind the stumps, and Monroe goes for 2. And that's come off 6 deliveries. Yeah,
it was swirling. She went back and she went forwards, and then she went back again and she went forwards again, and she managed to take it, and it was a definite skyer. But she's, like you said, she has got a mixed night. I've just asked a question of Kev about her keeping and whether it's more difficult under lights. How much of that would she have done training like Gem and I were talking about earlier on? But she's taken a very good catch there, and The Lightning now find themselves 101 for 6.
Piper Cleary is the new batter for Lightning. Let's quickly go through what's been happening in the Charlotte Edwards Cup around the country. I mentioned earlier the South East Stars against the Central Sparks. The South East Stars are the defending champions. They have lost to the Sparks. With the Sparks 170 for 6 off their 20 overs. South East Stars replying with 136 all outs. That was off the last ball of their 20 overs. Thunder beat the Northern Diamonds by 56 runs. Thunder 148 for 7, Diamonds 92 all out. What's you?
It is me as Charlie Dean comes in, and that's carved back with a point. It's racing towards us here. Freya Kemp's after it. It's going to pull up just short of the rope, and they're going to pick up 2. Some upsets then.
Yeah, and the other game that's going on this evening, which started half an hour after here, Sunrisers made 160 for 5, Western Storm 64 for 3. They need another 97 from 11 overs.
Yeah, well, that's a good game as well. Sunrisers also, I think they won 1 game in the Charlotte Edwards Cup last year. As Dean comes in again, straighter, that's carved straight at Nancy Harmon. It's a great bit of fielding. They're going to pick up, no, they're not going to pick up one. She's been sent back, has Catherine Bryce, but that's hit so firmly, and brilliant fielding from Nancy Harmon in the cover region.
So 16 balls, I make it left, and 53 runs needed.
Yeah, required rate of 19.9. But Catherine Bryce, she's going well here. She'll be happy with this effort from herself as she faces Charlie Dean. That's up out to long on. Maya Boucher's under it, and she takes the catch, and that's a great catch by Maya Boucher at long on. Charlie Dean just gives Catherine Bryce a little pat on the back to say well batted. She's done everything that she could there. She was doing the right thing. She's taken a positive option. And unfortunately, she just found Maya Boucher at the long-on boundary and has to depart for 54.
Well, that's a really good knock.
Yep, strike rate 105, 7 4s, no 6s, but she's really got her team into a, potentially a winning position, but it wasn't quite enough.
No, well, nobody stayed with her, and you think now that now she's gone. It really is now just a matter of time before the Vipers claim victory, and it will be their second victory in 2 matches.
Yep, Lucy Hyam is the new batter, number 7, strides to the crease. And 2 batters on naught and not having faced a ball, it's not the most ideal position to be in a run chase.
It certainly isn't. Not when you need, 53 off 15? Yep. That's horrible. I mean, you need Catherine Bryce to bat right the way through there.
Yeah, and you need someone in their top 4 to go on and bat with her, and unfortunately that didn't happen today for the Lightning. But they'll be looking to improve, and that's where they'll want to improve, I'm sure. As Dean comes over the wicket to the new batter, Hyam, she's straighter, it's down the leg side, and it will be called wide. And Carla Rudd does a good bit of keeping down the leg side there. She was blinded by Lucy Hyam's bat swing. And she'll have to bowl that one again, Charlie Dean. She's got 3 balls remaining in the 18th. And she comes in again. She bowls to Hyam. It's a fuller delivery. She's hit that back up. It's not going to quite carry to long on. It's a couple of bounces before Boucher, and they pick up 1 more. I thought it was going to carry for a second, but she didn't get hardly any of it, I don't think. And Hyam picks up 1 run. Lightning 105 for 7.
Yeah, it needed Marie Kelly or Beaumont up the top of the order, didn't they, to play a significant innings as well.
Absolutely. Dean straighter, that's carved just back with a point. And Freya Kemp does the fielding. She's hit the stumps, and the ball's ricocheted back to Charlie Dean, and the bells are everywhere. Not on purpose. That wasn't meant to happen, I don't think. Carla Rudd probably wanted that ball to hit her gloves nice and firmly, but we'll let her off. She's had a good night.
Getting better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The umpire's just rearranging the stumps here, and Charlie Dean waits. I don't know what she's doing, standing on one leg. She's always very animated, always lots of energy. Can't stand still, I don't think. As she bowls now, a bit quicker in delivery. That's down the leg side. Lauren Bell's after it. If it runs towards us here, they pick up 1, and they're going to come back for a second. That's good fielding and good running as well. That's going to be 3 wides to the total. Not exactly what the Vipers want. I'm not quite sure how many wides they've bowled in this innings. The extras, are they on there?
I can have a look.
Okay.
I'm not sure Charlie Dean's quite on it today.
No, there's a couple down the leg side, and there's going to be a field change. So we have 2 points, no mid-wicket now. Anna Shrubsole comes into the mid-off region as Dean bowls again. That's straighter, and it's stumped. She's missed that one, Lucy Hyam. It's gone straight through her as she tries to advance, tries to take a positive option again, comes down the wicket, and that one's held back a little bit by Charlie Dean, and Carla Rudd does the rest, and Lucy Hyam has been stomped for 1.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of time now, isn't it? That,
Yep.
it's a few too many for the Vipers, for Lightning to chase 156.
And I can tell you one thing that's really annoying, as a person that's done the drinks running in times gone by, is that you get all the way pretty much to the centre of the wicket and then they say, oh no, don't worry, we don't want to drink. And you just think, you could have told us that about 20 metres ago. Would have been quite nice. But there we go. They're probably too excited about the wicket. Sorry girls, back you go. Kirsty Gordon comes to the crease at number 10. And she joins Piper Cleary, who is going to be on strike. As Anya Shropshaw's going to start a new over from this end, and we've got 2 to go, Kev.
Yeah, 3 overs done for 17 for the former England international, who announced her retirement last month, and she's coming in for a 4th and last over. And she bowls right arm over, and that's full, and that's driven back to her by Piper Cleary. And there is no run. Now I'm just trying to look to see just how many wides the Vipers have bowled in this innings. Just bear with me for a moment while I look it up.
That's okay.
You're right, there is a few.
12
Yes,
apparently, according to Gemma Green.
Oh, was it 12? And that's wrapped. In fact, it's called a wide, so it must have hit Carla Rudd
14?
down the leg side. No, I won't. I won't. Is it? How many is it, Gemma? 12. 12. Thank you. Gemma Green's still with us. Still got Vipers off spinner Charlotte Taylor next to me. I'm Kevin James, and we are down to the last 11 balls of the Lightning innings. They still need another 45 here. It looks way beyond them with the lower order batters in now as Shrubsole bowls, and that just bounces a little bit on Kirsty Gordon, as I think that might have just hit her on the forearm or something as it goes out on the offside, and it's another dot ball. 10 balls left and 45 needed.
It looked like it seemed a little bit. Anya Shropshole, famously known for her in-swing, and that looked like it sort of just hit the pitch and straightened and bounced, so it's a very good delivery. Awkward to get at this stage of the game.
That's one for the archives. That's pulled away on the leg side, and it'll only be 1 at best through mid-wicket. Gordon's off the mark, 112 for 8. And we have 9 balls left of this Charlotte Edwards Cup match here at the Ageas Bowl.
And they're ringing the field changes for each batter. Danny White moving up from mid-on and back to long-on. They're never quite settled, always looking to improve.
Piper Cleary to face Anya Shrubsole, was running away from us. Cleary drives on the up, but only as far as extra cover. That's Elwes fielding there. No run, away past her in that position. 8 balls left, 44 still needed. This is going to be a Vipers victory here. 2 in 2 it'll be for the side that reached the semi-finals of this competition last year. We were disappointed not to win it in its first year. The cup is named after their head coach, and that's a nice shot behind square on the offside. Lovely piece of time in there from Piper Cleary. It won't quite go all the way to the rope, just backward a point, but it's a beautiful piece of timing anyway. And that, I think, is 3.
Yeah, Paige Schofield's run, probably about 30 metres there to cut it off. She's done fantastically well to pick that up just inside the rope. She's very quick out there.
Lightning still looking for their first win in this competition. That's including last year. Shrubsole fields with their feet and diverts it to mid-off, which Georgia Adams, the captain, fields. That's actually a beautiful piece of deflection off her boot. I think that might have hurt Shrubsole a little bit. There might be a little bit of a bruise there in the morning for her. And that is the penultimate over completed. So we have 1 over to do here. Lightning on 114 for 8. With Gordon on 1, Cleary on 3. They need another 42.
Yeah, they do. I think it's going to be Freya Kemp to bowl the final over. Shrubsole is limping now, as she did field that with her boot, but she'll be shaking that off, I'm sure. I'm sure she's done it more than once in her career, and she'll probably continue to do it. But we do have 1 over left to go. Lightning do need 42 to win off this final over. And Freya Kemp is to bowl it, and that orange is bright. It is very bright when you look at that big screen of Freya Kemp's name in bright white letters and a huge number 6. I can't see now anything else other than the bright white space in my eyes as she comes over the wicket. This time a ramp shot, and that's a lovely shot. It's brilliantly played down the leg side by Kirsty Gordon. She's going to pick up 4. It's a full delivery, and she just stepped across and helped it on its way down to fine leg, and she's gone early, watched it all the way onto the bat, and she's going to pick up 4. That is a really, really good shot.
Isn't it? It's a good one to a length ball, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's gone very fine, so even if you set a field for it on the 45 on the leg side, it's difficult to stop unless you've got a fine leg fielder.
Absolutely.
Which the Vipers don't. They have one on the 45 on the circle.
No, and could they have done it a bit earlier, taking a few more of these risks? Freya Kemp, she looked to do the same thing, but Freya Kemp's gone wider, and it wasn't on offer that time, and that's a good bit of bowling. She's almost probably known that she might try it again, and she's tried to counteract that, Freya Kemp. And for a young brain, she's used it very well there. Good death bowling.
I agree, but I mean, there's no way aside you get 42, of course. I mean, the maximum is 36 in the last over, but to still entrust the last over to a 17-year-old playing only their second senior game.
Well, she's been given the ball here. That's a slower ball. That's wide. It's on the wide line, and is fantastic delivery. That is death bowling, isn't it? That's what we want to see. Lots of variations, and she's showing all of her skills on show here for everyone to see at the Ageas Bowl on this Wednesday evening.
Kirsty Gordon wanted a wide there, but she stepped outside leg stump, so it looked wider than it actually was.
I think it just hit that wide line, so that's you know, deemed a legal delivery. So it's very good bowling from Freya Kemp as she comes in again, and she's tried to do the same thing. That's lifted over extra cover. That's a great shot, Kirsty Gordon. She's hit that phenomenally hard over extra cover. A couple of bounces, and somebody's tearing after that. One of our teammates, I'm not quite sure. That's Tara Norris out there.
Now, she was unavailable tonight, and yet she's back from the fair break.
Yeah.
So why was she not in the squad? Yet Danny White was.
Because she's a bowler, she's done too much bowling, effectively.
Right.
So it's just workloads. So she's just been rested. Make sure that her body's fit and ready to go, so we don't have any injuries. That'll be the reason behind that one. We've got 2 balls to go here. And Freya Kemp is going to be bowling to Kirsty Gordon, who's made a nice little innings here. She bowls that's full, and it's wide, and it's a dot ball. And it's great death bowling. She'll be priding herself on this, Freya Kemp. She's done phenomenally well since she's come into the side, and she continues to impress. 1 ball left,
34 needed. Not quite sure how you go about that.
You don't, I don't think, unfortunately for the Lightning. They've given it a pretty good go, and that, you know, arguably the difference is that Freya Kemp innings has lifted them to a defendable target. If they had only got 130, it could have been a different game. So her little cameo at the end of the innings has really made the difference. As she bowls again, that's carved in, it's gone looping over extra cover. It's a back of a length delivery. George Rams is after it. They're going to pick up 2 by the looks of things, and that completes the Loughborough innings, and it is a win for the Southern Vipers. It's comprehensive. They've won by 32 runs. 31 runs, sorry. Yes, you're right. To win 32. 31 runs, and the Lightning finish 124 for 8. A good little cameo from Gordon, 11 from 8, and Piper Cleary 3 from 5. And it's been, like I said before, a comprehensive victory for the Vipers, and they're all shaking hands, and it's been a great game of cricket to watch here, Kev.
Certainly has. So 2 wins from 2 now for the Southern Vipers, and 2 defeats from 2 for the Lightning. So Lightning finishing on 124 for 8 here at the Ageas Bowl. Just quickly run through the innings for Lightning before we hand you back on 5 Sports Extra, and also on the live picture feed. And the innings for Lightning dominated by Catherine Bryce, coming in at number 4. She made 54 off 51 balls with 7 fours, but when she was out with the score on 103 for 7 in the 18th, well, really it was already slipping away for Lightning, but she kept things going. But the only other player that made double figures was England player Tammy Beaumont at the start of the innings, and this has been the Lightning's problem, Charlotte, isn't it, really? Because on Saturday they only had 2 players that got into double figures, Beaumont and Marie Kelly. Marie Kelly this time getting out for no score, but there was nobody else really that is giving much support to the main scorers.
No, it is a problem, and it's something they need to work on, is their partnerships and extending those partnerships. We talk about it a lot in 50 over cricket, but it still stands for T20. They need to make sure that one of their top 4 goes on to get big scores. I think I've just seen a flash of lightning actually over in the far side of the ground, over where we said that rain was coming from. But yeah, they need to improve on that aspect of their game. And you know, maybe their fielding at the start was a bit sloppy. We got away with a few runs, and we pride ourselves on our fielding, the Vipers, and I think we were exceptional tonight. 2 areas that we can improve on, and that cameo, like I said at the end from Freya Kemp, might have been the difference as well. If they had the Lightning 2 players in their top 4 that were sort of made the base, and then another player to go on and score a little cameo like Freya did, that would have taken them over the line.
The bowling figures for the Vipers then dominated by Lauren Bell, who was on the England A tour and very much during the winter and very much on the England radar. 3 for 12 from her 4 overs. It could have very easily have been 4 wickets as well when she had Teresa Graves dropped. I think it was the final ball of her 4th over. 3 for 23 for Charlie Dean as well, the England off spinner. A couple of wickets for Georgia Elwes, 2 for 18 from 3 overs. And here at the Ageas Bowl, a win for the Vipers. Both these teams next in action on Saturday. The Vipers travel to the Northern Diamonds on Saturday afternoon. If you want to hear live commentary of that, that'll be on the BBC cricket website as well. That starts at 2:30. And Lightning, they've got a match also in the afternoon, and they're at home to Thunder. That match is at Leicester, so if you're a Lightning fan, you haven't got too long to wait for them next back in action. Thank you to Charlotte Taylor, Southern Vipers Oz spinner. Thank you also to Gemma Green, former Hampshire all-rounder, women's all-rounder. Hope you've enjoyed the commentary this evening. Thank you if you've been watching the live stream via the Hampshire Cricket website. We'll do all that all again next time there's a game here at the Ageas. If you've been listening on 5 Live Sports Extra, thank you for staying with us. Here at the Ageas Bowl, the Vipers make it 2 out of 2 with a win over Lightning by 31 runs.